Wait. Oh, Land of Dawn? Oh, draft is ready. Oh, okay, let's get into draft then.
That's right, into Land of Dawn we go. The match everybody has been waiting for. Gaming Gladiators up against the Bloodthirsty Kings. Not wasting any more time. That's right, the Land of Dawn was calling. That was Assassin Dave on the operator line, calling Liz right there to jump us into the most anticipated series of the day. Yue, we're finally here. Where do we go from here? Do we see BTK live up to their name, one of the most famous teams in North America, go up against the top contender of the NACT spring season, sitting in that #1 position?
Again, like BTK is a team that is full of all-stars. These players have put in so much time and work to perfect their craft. And I honestly think they just need 1 game, 2 games to build that team chemistry, to build that momentum, and they can dominate pretty much the whole entire season. But they are faced against one of the strongest team. And I would even say, it is a team that does well against BTK, right? Shark, Hoon, Best Player, Fried Chicken, Zia, all of them have been associated with BTK. So, they definitely understand how Zane operates here. So it's going to be a tough mind battle, tough mental battle. But I do think if Zane is able to break through that, if Basic and Mila is able to, push through with that lane, and of course the new synergy onto the mid side, it proves to be an extremely strong team to defend against. But again, Gaming Gladiators have the experience. They've done this before. They have been victorious and they've been so consistent pretty much throughout the whole entire regular season. So it's a very hard matchup for the Blood of the Kings.
Yeah, the Bloodthirsty Kings definitely up for a challenge, but hey, BTK, they've known to go that extra mile. They're the only team that's gone the highest in the M series. We got to see them in M3, place 3rd place. We didn't get to see them in 2023 have the hottest performance like Gaming Gladiators, who's able to push through. But in the spring season, BTK did beat some of these members on Gaming Gladiators when they were formerly known as Outplay. They took us to a best of 7, the best grand finals that we've ever had on the North American scene for the NACT. So I got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They're not a team that I would just say Gaming Gladiators is going to breeze through. I mean, there is that opportunity for BTK to be able to shut them down. Now, looking at what we're seeing so far, this is kind of what we were talking about, limiting Mobazane's picks, right? They take out that Barats to pick up that Fredrin. They're trying to have him run something else. I mean, he did run the Alpha against them when they did have a chance to go up against each other, and it didn't really work out. He ran the Fredrin as well. Didn't really work in his favor. So looking at the match so far, with the Fredrin on the best player's hands, that's not even something you typically see somebody pick up first pick, Yue. I mean, we all know it's a direct counter over there trying to limit Mobazane inside of the jungle.
Well, here's the interesting thing about BTK's draft that I feel like is quite a bit of weakness, right? The Joy and the Nolan gets banned out, and it's honestly a defensive mechanism for the side of BTK because Mobazane, quite honestly, he's not, the assassin player that Best Player is. So being able to take out those 2 heroes means that their draft is quite limited, right? It gives Gaming Gladiators the ability to ban out whoever they want, open whoever they want, and they can just force those 2 bans out just because Mobazane does not have those heroes in place. Now, the response, the Vexana gets picked up by Nicolette, a great choice, right? High win rate, high picked in North America. The CC, which we've seen Yurishi and also Uneven do so well on the XP lane. Milo is going to be the one that picks that up. Should be able to deal with a lot of the zone coming out from Best Player, but the response, right? The Ruby gets picked up pretty much multiple games back to back. Something that we have not seen that's on the ban table is going to be the Tig and the Minotaur.
And I was going to say, that leaves Zane with a couple of options still left out of comfortability, and that is going to be that Boxia slotted in. So he is going to have to dive into a lot of frontline, though, especially with that Fredrin, especially with that Ruby. That's a lot of CC, but he is very mobile, and honestly, he's one of the best junglers when it comes to rotating on this Boxia. So we are going to be looking at Milo running this CC, very mobile in the XP lane, does a lot of damage, very hard to kill, and nobody really stop him in his tracks. There is a lot of flexibility, though, with the draft from the side of Gaming Gladiators. I mean, the Ruby, we don't even know if this is going to be a roam Ruby, if it's going to be an XP laner, and that's just that 3-dimensional drafting at its finest. You are looking at that carry providing that late game damage. Mobazane will have to watch out for that, but he can close the distance on the carry, which does work for him if he wants to go into the backline, but he also has to watch out because the carry, once you get that Demon Hunter sword, once you have a couple of those core items at your disposal, he's going to be able to soak into the beefier composition and burst down a frontline hero such as the Boxia.
Now the Minotaur gets taken out from the side of Gaming Gladiators. I do think maybe a Brody could be a good ban against Basic, but for the side of BTK, they still have a lot of options that they can choose for. If they were to pick the Harith, that means that Milo's physical damage is going to be quite huge. But for the side of BTK, they already have 2 magic damage dealers. I'm not sure if the Harith is going to be the one that gets picked up today. Another good option, the Brody or even the Bruno that got picked up during the Fiends match, could be good against the carry. So definitely still having a lot of options on the board. BTK with the next ban, both of them decide to take out the Minotaur and the Tigreal.
Yeah, I mean, they could even go for something like the Natan if they really wanted to. I do like the Brody, though. I think it's the strongest option here, especially against Gaming Gladiators. I mean, look at their draft. They are heavy frontline oriented, especially with that Ruby and that Fredrin. If they decide to run that Ruby in the roam position, they're going to try and stop Mobazane from getting his buffs. I mean, that's their game plan. Usually you see Shark rotate around and harass Zane majority of the game. Now, they still can flex that Ruby into the XP lane and will be up against that CC. Can possibly stop CC from rotating around as often because of the sustainability that the Ruby provides. Very hard to kill and able to kind of maintain herself in that lane. But they're fully equipped to dive into the orange buff, the purple buff, possibly get into the side lane and take down the gold laner, which is why I do agree. I think the Brody would be a great option for the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Brody, the Bruno, those are good options for the Kings. But Basic decides to pick up this Harith. It makes me question a little bit if the side of BTK has too much magic damage, right? You know, you want to have a balance between both. And if you're just relying on CC with the War Axe to deal the physical damage that you are looking for, it's going to be hard to penetrate, you know, the armors that best player, that Shark, is going to be building up in this case. So I feel like Gaming Gladiators has pushed BTK onto kind of a corner here. Now, better options, once again, we do think the Brody, the Bruno might be better options here. But again, the Harith has been picked up. Now the response, right? I think they're looking for a mage and a possible roam or an EXP position. Yuzong comes to mind for me. Grok could also be an option to kind of knock and deny the Grok pick from BTK, because I think, you know, Cold World might have a pretty good game on Grok if he chooses to go with it.
I just realized that Navario walked through the draft all the way to the second phase. It's honestly a little bit surprising, but Gaming Gladiators will lock that in, provide them some additional CC, and Whom should be able to sustain himself in the backline. Like I said, Mobazane is running this box here though, so he may be able to close that distance alongside Milo. That CC is a great hero to go over there and try and find that mage, try and find the marksman. Now, when I'm looking at the side of BTK, crowd control is what I'm a little bit worried about, right? I mean, you have the Vexana, so it can do a little bit of damage. You have the Zombie Force over there from the Harith, but Harith's going to be pretty much in the gold lane for majority of this game. Yes, the Harith will do a little bit better than the carry when it comes to the 1v1 engagement, but the survivability of the Harith is what I'm a little worried about. When it comes to Gaming Gladiators diving in on him, since you don't have that Brody, since you don't have a stun at your kit and that flicker to escape, he's going to have to play a little bit safer if Gaming Gladiators decides to take some early rotations in today's matchup. But last pick on the board for the Bloodthirsty Kings is going to go ahead and be that Grok. Not the worst option. I actually am a fan of the Grok. He can hug that wall. He can stop a lot of that CC that Gaming Gladiators has to offer, and also good on diving in, stopping heroes from getting into the neutral objectives by dropping that Guardian's Barrier. And with the drafts being finalized, I think we have a really good match on our hands. I think both sides have some answers and also have some vulnerabilities.
Yeah, I think the Grob is pretty much the final pick coming out from BTK. Brings a little bit of physical, brings a little bit of clear onto the mid side to help Nicolette rotate around. But also, I feel like the Grok is kind of the last and the only option that BTK had, right? I've never seen Cold World play the Arlot, and the Arlot has been let through. So it's quite interesting here in our last game of the night.
That's right, final series of the day. The most anticipated match of the NACT spring season is finally here. The Bloodthirsty Kings up against Gaming Gladiators, who will be able to take game number 1.
Yeah, it's the Gaming Fighters, the Gaming Gladiators here versus the Kings of the Kings. The exciting matchup for tonight. And once again, you know, these two teams have been dominating in the North America circuit for such a long time. This is a complete classic guys. So I hope you guys all enjoy this match coming through. Let's take a look at some of the emblems. Festival of Blood has quite been normalized for the carry on the gold lane and even the XP lane. So lots of sustain coming out from both teams. Even the Harith decides to pick up the Festival of Blood. So lots of sustains coming out from both teams. Already an aggressive opening from the side of BTK.
Yo, Cold World off to a good start, right? He's harassing best player in the jungle. A little bit opposite from what we see. Usually we see Gaming Gladiators pulling that trick out of their cards for the Bloodthirsty Kings, but BTK looking like they're ready to take this fight nice and early. Not going to give them the advantage that they normally have inside of the early phase, which is good for them. Cold World, a new addition to the Bloodthirsty Kings. We've seen him on The Simpsons. We've seen him compete on the competitive scene before, and off to a good start to deny Shark from kind of harassing and giving vision on Mobazane.
Yeah, and Cold World is actually known to be a player leading a team with a really high early aggression early on, right? So, to see Cold World kind of dominating, especially in this level 1, it's not surprising to me, but it's definitely what BTK needs to be able to kind of get through in this victory. And once again, I think BTK has a very solid chance of getting a victory off of the Gaming Gladiators. Now, we talk about the statistics, it's not so much, but bot side, CC here.
Yeah, a lot of damage. Right, as we are going to see this turtle spawn in. Both sides trying to bait out some utility before going in for this objective. Milo, very low, taking some massive damage. Forced to kind of recall back to the base. Astro Echo to connect to deny his recall right there. Mobazane is going to rotate around, though, trying to find an opportunity. Best player in position for the retribution.
Yeah, on the side of BTK is struggling to even get close to the objective here. The wild charge does come through, but the damage is not followed up. Nicolette is on the backside. BTK able to take the very first kill here.
Yeah, Nicolette is going to get the kill, takes down Shark, but they will lose the first turtles. Gaming Gladiators is able to secure that best player with the retribution, and this is kind of what we've seen normally when these two teams face off. Some heavy crowd control up against a frontline-oriented jungler, Mobazane, which kind of hurts him when it comes to taking these neutral objectives. But we know they're a team that knows how to look for the opportunity where necessary. With that first neutral objective going to GG, though, they will have the XP boost, but not the massive advantage since BTK was able to take a kill away from them.
Yeah, that's pretty good for the side of BTK, right? They're able to kind of keep up with the Gaming Gladiators. Unfortunately, they did not get the performance, the results that they were looking for in the early on in the day 1 and day 2 of the regular season, but definitely a strong opening for the side of BTK. They're just keeping up with the side of Gaming Gladiators, and I think that's a very good result.
Ooh, big knock-up, though. Nicolette with massive damage. Zane will take down Shark, best player. Appraiser's Wrath will be able to dash out of there last second. 2 kills on the board for the side of the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Huge opening from the side of BTK, able to pick up another member. Shark already down 0 and 2. Now, Shark dying is not that big of a deal, especially since he is on that roam position, but definitely is still an advantage for the side of BTK.
Yeah, BTK rotating around, able to take these objectives, even though they were not able to take the first turtle. Stripping off some of the gold plating for that turret on the top side could put Basic in a good position to deal the damage necessary. He's already a counter for the carry, but also having the gold advantage is going to make him even stronger in the gold lane. We are going to see the turtle spawning in 15 seconds, though. Gaming Gladiators, can they take this next objective, or will BTK find a way in?
I do want to point out that the Grok has decided to take the Quantum Charge, and it's quite interesting that we're seeing a lot of roams take the Quantum Charge, right? Matilda, Kaja, and we even got to see an Estus bringing up that spell, so definitely something new in terms of the spells of our roamers, but BTK having the numbers advantage in the turtle pit.
Yeah, look at the turtle, 50% HP, big I'm offended from Shark, best player, finds Nicolette, Cold World. Need to find an answer. Mobazane very low. Shark and Chicken not trying to allow him to get away. Chaining him with CC. Zane still wants this turtle in position for a possible retribution. But best player will be able to claim the second turtle of the game over the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Yeah, and the goal lead is still really close, right? The side of Gaming Gladiators, they're able to get one pick off along with the objective, but the gold lead is still not completely in their favor. So BTK holding on in this series. This is exciting, right? This is pretty much the matchup that we want to see before. And of course, BTK knows Gaming Gladiators just as much as Gaming Gladiators know Mobazane. So it's definitely a matchup that they have been looking for. Now, Gaming Gladiators, in terms of their scaling onto the late game, right? They have have the carry. Zia versus Basic here. The carry should have a much substantial late game, especially when he's up in gold. But if carry is topside.
Yeah, Zia caught with the gank from Cold World. Basic able to get the kill with the numbers, but on the bot side, a possible trade. Mobazane will fall. Hoon will be the one to take him down. Milo left by himself to fend off against 3 members of Gaming Gladiators and hitting pretty hard right there. Very low. Shark to be able to take the kill with the chain CC. And that is going to be 2 to 3, 3 to 3 on the board, even in kills for both sides.
And both of those members decide to take the armor boots, right? The Zane and also the CC picking up the armor boots. It is good to deal with a lot of the physical damage coming out from the side of Gaming Gladiators, but the CC chain knockup provided by the Ruby and the Fredrin was just too much to handle for the side of BTK. Now, we do see a small gold lead in place. Retribution comes through, so best player looking to get onto a small engagement.
Yeah, looking to engage in the mid lane. Cold World very low. Appraiser's Wrath for some additional chip damage. Mobazane frontline a lot of the damage, but now caught with the crowd control, over pressuring him. Gaming Gladiators looking to take him down. Hoon will draw the kill. Now a 4 to 3 lead in terms of kills, and also a turret advantage for Gaming Gladiators as they were able. No, it's even on turrets. As both sides were able to find a tier 1 turret on opposing lanes.
It is still an advantage for the side of Gaming Gladiators. This is, hard for the side of BTK if you guys are rooting for them. The side of Gaming Gladiators, if they have the advantage, they typically, run away with the game. And this time around, they have the advantage. So BTK is going to be caught up and kind of backed up into a spot that they are going to be quite uncomfortable with. But mid side here, there's 3-man waiting in the bush, but Cole already knows what's going on.
Yeah, Cold World forced to use the wild charge, knocks up Shark. Astro Echo response back from Hoon, connecting to Cold World and Nicolette. Basic joining the battle in the mid lane if they do want to take this fight. Now, when you're looking at the kills, right, you're looking at Hoon already leading the way, highest kills in the game on this Novario, who we typically see banned out of the matches. He is going to be able to provide a lot of utility when it comes to slowing down the team with the Astro Echo and opening up these engagements. But speaking of opening things up, best player frontlining, knocking up Mobazane. Chicken ready to use the bravest fighter in the Raging Slash. Milo now going to go ahead and sustain himself, trying to frontline the damage, bait out some utility, but hit with a lot of crowd control. And Zia with the speedy light wheels will shut him down. That is going to be a 1-for-none trade inside of the mid lane.
Gaming Gladiator has always been kind of that team that they're able to solo pick off in a majority of these fights, right? They can get the disengage that they're looking for, and then they get the pick off. And now Hoon, 2, 0, and 3, already having the book into the Lightning Trudgeon. Like, this guy has scaled so fast in this series, and he's going to go pretty much undenied every single one of these team fights. BTK, they don't have that backline assassin to look to close the gap onto Hoon, so they're definitely going to have a lot of trouble trying to clear up for him.
Ooh, wild charge from Cold World. Tier 1 turret on top side. Just fall. Praises Wrath. Cold World will use the flicker to get out with a smidgen of HP back to safety. But Gaming Gladiators claims their second turret of this game, already up by 3 turtles as well, which means they now have controlled the early phase and may be able to claim the tier 1 turret in the mid lane. Milo, Nicolette, and Mobazane in position for the contest will be able to clear out the minions.
Yeah, now Carry already has the gold lead up against the Harriet. This is kind of a bad situation for the side of BTK, right? Harriet is traditionally supposed to be that lane bully to be able to dominate the early game that Zia should not have. But the side of BTK, they're not kind of just falling left and right. The Lord going down the retribution onto the hands of Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, I mean, look at Mobazane. He's not able to find a window of opportunity to get into the Lord Pit with Shark zoning him out over there on this Ruby, which allows Gaming Gladiators to take another objective under their table without little to no contest. I mean, BTK, they have to find a way to claim this. With this Lord, it looks like Gaming Gladiators is going to push in, try and claim some more of these turrets, possibly go in for a tier 1 turret siege in the mid lane.
Yeah, and Gaming Gladiators, they didn't have the opening that they were looking for. Shark got pretty much taken off the board twice, but now Gaming Gladiators really ramping up the production here.
Ooh, massive Astro Echo and a siege for the tier 1 turret. Gaming Gladiators opening up the mid lane in their favor. Cold World hit with a lot of crowd control. Stunned. Shark trying to keep him at bay. Forced to use the wild charge back to safety. Lord on the bot side, marching toward the tier 2 turret.
And Gaming Gladiators, once again, they have the lead advantage. It's about a 4K gold lead, 10 minutes in. It's not a significant, a complete one-sided domination, but the gold lead definitely still paints the picture for the side of Gaming Gladiators to have the success that they have been pretty much throughout any game of these series, right? Zia completely farmed up here. He probably has, or going towards that Demon Hunter sword, is just going to scale infinite towards that late game. And also Hoon completely, untouched in this series. And Diamond offended.
4-man set. Shark on fire with the Ruby. The I'm offended. Catching basic, catching chicken, catching Zane. Maybe if we get some more, Cold World is going to take down chicken. That's going to be a 2-for-3 trade. Nicolette, find Shark. My goodness, Yue. Both teams giving it their all, but Gaming Gladiators slightly ahead as they have forced BTK down to their inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, it's a bloodbath there coming out from both teams. The BTK, the 5K gold lead is just a little bit too much for the side of BTK to handle. I think they have to pick the fights a little bit more carefully, right? They have to see if they can catch on to Hoon or catch on to Zia before they can even initiate onto the front side tanks, because quite honestly, Shark dying, Chicken dying, that's fine. They're willing to trade 2 to 3 members for those 2 kills. But BTK, they have to try to find a way to on the backside. If Hoon completely just is untouched every single one of these team fights, if Zia is getting out alive with full HP, it's gonna be too hard for them to handle.
Yeah, 3-man setup there. I thought it was 4, but Basic didn't get caught with it. You're going to see Zia take down Mobazane off that play. Chicken find Cold World, but then a couple of members from BTK fell themselves as Nicolette is going to go ahead and shut down Shark as well in that engagement. Gaming Gladiators on the aggressive standstill, trying to get an early finish up against the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Yeah, dominating performance once again. 6.5K gold lead, 12 minutes in. Gaming Gladiators pretty much got everything that they need from all these teams fights. And the Lord, now it is going to be an enhanced Lord marching down. I don't think BTK has the ability to contest in this objective. And even if they can, Shark, with the pools coming through, he was able to get a 3-man set onto the backside of BTK. Like, this man is making so much impact all around the map. Even with 2 deaths, he has the confidence, and that just smells a lot of trouble for the side of BTK.
Yet another objective will go in their hands with little to no contest. Milo, you've been trying to find a way in for opportunity, but it is just not there. Almost an 8,000 gold difference between GG and BTK so far at the 13-minute mark. And for the side of BTK, I mean, they're not necessarily out yet, but there's a lot of insurance for Gaming Gladiators if they do make a mistake. I mean, they've only lost 1 turret so far. They have a major gold deficit, and if BTK even tries to take this fight with the Luminous Lord, it can smell disasters. Gaming Gladiators is one of those teams. You give them a step, they take a mile.
Yeah, and now Gaming Gladiators with the ability to sink the waves. Great, right? They got the Lord marching down on one of the side lanes, which is perfect for them to kind of siege in and try to get a pick off here. But for BTK, right, they still have the lane clears available. The Boxia can provide a little bit of lane clear. Harith also does quite well. Grok also has the first skill to be able to kind of just smack the waves. So definitely on the defensive end, BTK still has it in them. But in terms of the team fight, Shark has been just so good with I'm Offended.
And the base has been cracked open for the Bloodthirsty Kings. Gaming Gladiators knocking for a possible victory. BTK with the response. So Milo very low. Zia, Speedy Light Wheels will find him. 1 member down for the Bloodthirsty Kings, and the inhibitor will fall in the mid lane. BTK on the back end trying to hold him off. Another member falls. Zia with the double kill finds Mobazane. Triple knock up from the wild shots from Cold World. Fight Tickle will find Nicolette. Basic. Very low. Zia. Rushing in Bahoon will be able to get the kill. Last second, Cold World by himself. A quick finish for the side of Gaming Gladiators as Cold World by himself. Not enough to contest. And Gaming Gladiators, they're going to go in for the kill. Full brutality right now for the first match of the day as GG will shut down BTK in game number 1.
13-5 is the overall scoreboard. 14-minute dominating performance coming out for the side of Gaming Gladiators, and multiple members have pretty much gone unchecked in this series. Best player 2-0-10 is his overall scoreboard, playing a complete perfect game on that Fredrin, the first pick, right? Denying that Fredrin away from Mobazane, and did honestly quite well. This guy is an assassin main, but he's able to pull out the utility jungles just as well. The overall KDA of the team 13, 5, and 38, Wheezy.
Yeah, just a great performance from Gaming Gladiators, able to kind of push through. Micro and macro is where they kind of excelled at for that game, right? They were able to keep Mobazane at bay with the crowd control, with Shark on the Ruby, denying him entry into a lot of these neutral objectives, a lot of these lords, a lot of these turtles on top of that. And eventually, when you allow them to take these, those things add up. And that's how this, Gaming Gladiators was kind of able to push through with the fast finish up against BTK for game number 1. This is similar to where we've seen them kind of fight it out in the battle of the top 16. It's the crowd control that gets a little overwhelming for Mobazane. It's like, honestly, like they form a strategy just to stop the frontline junglers that are on the table, such as the Boxia, such as a Fredrin. You know, that's really what they kind of go for, and it's been proven to work. I will say, though, BTK was looking a little promising in the beginning. Cold World actually had some great positioning with that Grok, but Shark able to get that massive triple set last second, grabbing 3 members of BTK, and then able to kind of make the most out of the situation right after that to close it out, take that Lord, and finish that game. BTK, they need to go find a way to turn this around, and it's going to start with finding a way to get to those neutral objectives.
Yeah, and you know, if you take a look at the team fight participation across the board, it's 92% for Shark, Hoon, and Best Player. The trio mid dominating, right? You know, these 3 guys, and look at Hoon. He literally barely took any damage. He was left unchecked the whole entire game. 8k damage taken. It doesn't even show a bar at that point. Like, Hoon has done so well in his positioning onto Navaria. There's a good reason why, you know, that hero gets taken out almost every single game. But for the side of BTK, unfortunately, in terms of their draft, they have to let go of the Nolan. They have to let go of the Joy. Those are the 2 main heroes that they have to ban out, and that leaves them with really just one option. I actually think BTK, maybe they should just open those 2 heroes, fight the Assassin versus the utility, because it seems like Gaming Gladiators, they don't even care about the Assassins in the jungle. The first pick, Fred, was just like, you know, they don't want this Fred. They're not banning it out. I'm going to take it away from Zane because that is the most played hero that Zane has had, you know, in this season. So Gaming Gladiators, they definitely have an advantage in the draft. I want to see BTK change it up. Let them have the Assassins, provide a little bit more bans, a little more safeguard, and maybe some of your other lanes. Take Hoon off the board. Don't give him the Navaria, because quite honestly, you don't got the Assassins. You don't got the Yuzong that can get onto the backside to shut him down.
Yeah, so we definitely have to keep an eye on Hoon when he runs that Navaria, right? Even though he probably didn't get MVP there, he had a big impact on a lot of the crowd control the CC provided over there for Gaming Gladiators. As we are looking at Gaming Gladiators, a couple of their highlights from game number 1. There goes Hoon, opening it up to Astro Echo, and then the 3-man set from Shark for the engagement, and then Gaming Gladiators make the most out of the situation. Zia picks up a kill, Chicken gets another. Cold World takes down Chicken to respond, though. You are seeing some micro and macro plays from both sides, but it's still leaning in favor over there for Gaming Gladiators, as this is where they cracked open their base and led to their early finish to be able to close out game number 1. The Bloodthirsty Kings, they were putting up a good fight, but the crowd control just a little too much to handle. Mobazane not finding an entry point on a lot of these turtles and also these lords, which ultimately stacked up against them and led to a snowball in Gaming Gladiators' favor.
Yeah, and I also want to point out that from the side of BTK, they had kind of like a neutral, like a neutral game, especially early on, right? They were able to take maybe 2 kills off of Gaming Gladiators and kind of hold it against themselves. But once again, Shark on that Ruby was able to get like a 2-3 man I'm offended onto that turtle pit, and that completely changed the course in this game. So I still think BTK, they have the ability and they have the players to make the impact, to create this upset, this uprising that, you know, NACT is desperately needing. But Gaming Gladiators just playing beyond perfection, right? Ruby gets that set. Hoon literally not taking a damage at all in this whole entire game. And even Best Player, right? He's an assassin main looking to play that utility jungle first, picking the Fredrin with absolutely no problem, no deaths on the board. Gaming Gladiators played a great game in this very first series.
Well, the Bloodthirsty Kings up for another battle, may be able to turn this around and draw us to a game number 3. I like to see matches go to game number 3. We got to see one series today go that extra mile, and I'm hoping to see a second one, but it's going to start with a couple of things working in BTK's favor if they want to have a chance. Number 1, finding a way to get to those neutral objectives. If Mobazane is going to be running these frontline composition junglers, such as a Boxia, such as a Fredrin, such as a Barats, that's fine. But they need to find a roamer that can kind of create that window, or an XP laner that can create that opening for him to get to those turtles or to those neutral objectives, especially since he's not running something like an assassin that's going to go and gank the side lane instead. I mean, he can run a frontline composition, and instead of going for the neutral objective, he could go in and just try and shut down the gold laner or the XP laner. I mean, that's definitely a possibility. You don't have to be an assassin to do that. And honestly, the way the meta is shifted, it does work in Mobazane's favor for who he can kind of pick up. But again, a lot of the heroes that he's selecting, there's not really too much of a variation on what they offer. And some of the same counters counter majority of them. The Ruby counters the Fredrin. The Ruby can give the Boxia a hard time. You know what I mean? Like the Barats, I mean, I guess he could possibly rush in, but again, the CC is what's a problem. They just try and stop him from getting into retribution range to allow best player to take these objectives, which is fine, but then they need to find a way to rotate to the opposing side and get a trade. You can't continuously let these things stack up, or that's where Gaming Gladiators will kind of win it out. When it comes to the 5v5 fights, though, that's where I think it's a little bit more even. I wouldn't say that Gaming Gladiators is just really dominating them on 5v5 fights. Yes, Shark has some amazing sets, but also you got to look at the XP boost that they have when they take all of these turtles, right? I mean, their side laners are going to eventually scale over the enemy side laner because they have more gold, because they have more experience from these turtles adding up.
Now, kind of a interesting opening once again in the first phase of bans. Multiple junglers are being taken off onto the shelves. Barats, Fredrin, Joy, and Nolan, right? These are the heroes that we kind of expect both teams to take out, but not in this fashion, right? You know, there's still a lot available, right? The Ruby, the Novaria, the carry, the Vexana, there's so many things available here. But the side of Gaming Gladiators, they decide, hey, Mobazane, we're not just gonna let you have these hero basic, you too. We're gonna take out the best of your, you know, lineup there. But the side of BTK, they opting to go for the same exact bans. I understand the Joy gets taken out because the CC immune is quite too much to deal with. But the Nolan, I feel like there is counter plays to it. But the only difference in this draft is that the Angela is now available to be picked up. And we've seen the Angela do quite well in numerous series, but this time around, Matilda is going to be the first pick for the side of the Kings.
The Matilda is good too. I think it's going to provide a lot of sustainability for their team. Now, I do expect Mobazane to probably pull out an Akai here. Believe it or not, I think that's what he's going to pull out here, especially because the Akai has the heavy spin. When his team can't help him zone out the enemy team from the neutral objective, you can just proc that heavy spin and go in there with no problem for that retribution. Now, I wonder if Gaming Gladiators is onto the strategy, though. I wonder if they're going to take it away from him with this draft, because if not, I think it would be a good option, especially with the playstyle for the Bloodthirsty Kings. I don't see Mobazane pulling out an alpha here. He's tried that before. He went against Area 77. It didn't really work in his favor. So, I mean, there's not really too many other heroes on the table, unless he goes in for a Martis. But no, they're going to take the Boxia. Actually, I didn't even think about the Boxia there. But yeah, what do you think? Do you think it'll be a Nakai pickup?
Well, I think the carry is 100% warranted for the side of Gaming Gladiators. Like, that's an obvious pick, right? With the Claude being banned out, the carry pretty much provides that late game insurance that the side of Gaming Gladiators do so well in the late game. I do want to see the response, a little bit of a stronger response. The Harith has done quite well as long as the side of BTK does not have too much magic damage, and I think it worked decently. Another pick, you know, that we've seen quite often is going to be the Brody pick. I do want to see, you know, BTK potentially picking up, you know, the Ruby that could kind of deny Gaming Gladiators' ability to flex that once again. But just like you're saying, Wheezy, the Kai gets picked up for Mobazane, and especially after the Boxia, I do think that is going to be the single best option there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I can kind of seen that coming from a mile away. I mean, it just works with his playstyle and the way that BTK kind of rotates around. He needs a hero that he can rush in with without having to rely on too many things being checked off for these neutral objectives. And Akai is the perfect hero to do that. Now, they picked up that carry. It's a great answer to be able to soak down his beefiness over there, but he does have Mathilda to keep him alive and also has the guiding win on top of that, stacked up with the Novaria. And this is looking a lot better than game number 1 for the draft for the Bloodthirsty Kings. For the side of Gaming Gladiators, I like the Boxia. It's highly mobile. I like the carry. There is still a lot of options on the table that can give the carry a hard problem though, and I think Harith, we did see that time and time again, has been, is that Harith banned out? Yeah, Harith is actually banned out on this
No,
game.
he's not.
So
Not yet.
oh no, that's Joy. Okay, so Harith is not banned off the table, so it could be picked up. The Brody as well. You mentioned Brody being a strong option. They already have double magic over there, so I would think the Brody would be their best option here just for survivability, but time will tell.
Yeah, but this is an interesting thing. A very early Lapu Lapu comes into play. The Ruby does not get picked up this time around. And maybe Gaming Gladiators is saving that roam pick this time, right? They could pair the roam with the carry, like the Kaja, the Franco, with the suppression coming through. Maybe even, you know, denying the CC coming out from BTK. They could go for something like a Diggy. And I think the Lapu Lapu is a perfect setup. It provides a lot of the frontline utility. It gives them that significant physical damage. So they have honestly quite a good amount of options to choose from. Now, the side of BTK, they are missing that XP position. I do think, you know, Yuzong could be a good potential. The X-Borg also is available to kind of shred down the front line. But for the side of Gaming Gladiators, I do think they need to worry about the Novaria quite a bit. In the last game, Hoon was pretty much left unchecked on the Novaria. So this time around, Nicolette might even be able to turn that situation around and, you know, deal tons of damage. But there is other options in the mage mid, right? The Faramis, that is quite good. The Nana, even the Vexana, they could even opt to go for the Gord, which is quite good in the mid lane.
Yeah, I was going to say the Vexana is still on the table. Maybe picked up over there from Gaming Gladiators. Yeah, the Valentina was banned out. Looks like they're trying to kind of focus on some of Hoon's signature picks. Now, I mean, when we're looking at BTK, they have sustainability provided, they have frontline presence, and they also have some damage over there from the Novaria. A lot of crowd control on the table. They need a little bit more damage, in my opinion, though, on the physical side of things. And that's where I don't know if they're going to run something like the Harith up against the carry. Now, it may end up being that Brody that we talked about. It could end up being something like a Bruno, possibly on the table as well. Not something we see as often. I don't think it'll be an Atan, just because I feel like they need a little bit more physical damage. But hey, anything's possible between these two teams. But something interesting that did get slotted in was the Lapu Lapu. Looks like they went in for that XP laner before even knowing what he's going against. Just shows the comfortability over there from Fried Chicken. I mean, we did see Milo run the CC in the last game. CC is banned off the table, and BTK was the one to take it off the board. They need something to get to the back line, though. I mean, they have a Kai who can kind of rush into Zia on the carry. Not really sure if that's going to be his goal, though. Maybe picking up something like you mentioned, the Yuzong, but that has been banned out as well. So they are trying to limit what heroes can actually get back there to shut down Zia on these engagements.
X-Borg, Trizla comes into mind. A little bit of CC to kind of shut down the short range coming out from the carry. But the Gaming Gladiator is going to be the first one here to get that first pick. Shark is still available. I do think, you know, Shark is going to hide the last pick, but no, the Ruby gets taken up again. And, you know, I don't know if BTK is very happy with this, because the impact that Shark had in the game one was just a little bit too much for the Kings to handle.
I was going to say Bakito could have been a pickup for the XP lane, but I don't know about Bakito now. It could be, just because of how heavy of a hitter he is, and with the recent patches, he did get a decent buff, and he's been performing really well. I just don't know how he's going to walk into a lot of this CC, though. I mean, you're running into a Boxer, you're running into a Ruby, and then also the Lapu Lapu. I feel like he could take the fight with the Lapu Lapu, possibly. But even Lapu has the crowd control, which could be a little bit of a threat. So Trizla does have the anti-CC, but I don't really think they need more group CC at their disposal. There goes the Brody that we mentioned, though. It was the best answer over there for the gold lane, and you did mention the X-Board. Credits over there to you. Will be slotted for the Bloodthirsty Kings inside the XP lane, which I do favor over running him in the jungle.
I really like the Brody pick. Why? Because I feel like a lot of the teams, they do struggle in the early phase. They're picking up a lot of the late game heroes like Carry and Claude, but they just can't really get a kill early on, especially when, you know, the roam or the mage is coming into their lane and they just don't have the kill pressure early on. But the Brody fixes all of the issues, along with heroes like Clint and the Bruno, which has been used a little bit in North America, but not as much as I would like it. Now, the Vexana gets picked up by Hoon here. It is a dangerous pick with a significantly high win rate, and Hoon has always been the one to pick it up early. This time around, it is a last pick. Vexana might smell a lot of trouble, especially since Brody is such a short range hero.
And it's going to be a battle of push and pull. When you're looking at BTK, they're the push, right? They have the Akai to be able to force Gaming Gladiators out of the neutral objectives. They have the Navarro for the slow. They have the knockup from the Circling Eagle provided over there from this Mathilda. And a little bit of a stun from the Brody. But the pull comes in from Gaming Gladiators. They have the Ruby, the I'm Offended Shark. We saw the triple set in game number 1. Maybe an effect for game number 2 as we are now jumping into the land of Dawn. The Bloodthirsty Kings trying to find a way to even out the series. Gaming Gladiators sitting at match point.
Yeah, and of course, Gaming Gladiators, the one that has been dominating in the very first performance once again. They are the ones that are leading in our standings. So they're definitely going to be the crown favorites here in this matchup. But once again, BTK, a team full of complete all-stars. Mobazane on a comfortable hero that he chooses. And they also have the GOAT, Milo, on the XP. So definitely, we cannot count the Bloodthirsty Kings out of this match. And look at the red buff denied from Cold World. A very strong opening once again in the series.
Yeah, the denial is there. Cold World, you know, watch out. Shark, very low. Cold World, not afraid to kind of overextend and give some great vision, similar to what we've seen in game number 1. Didn't work out in their favor, though. On the top side, we are going to be looking at the Brody going up against the carry. Brody definitely having the survivability. Will be able to sustain himself if the side of Gaming Gladiators does go in to try and dive on him. I mean, Gaming Gladiators does have a little bit better of a set composition, right? They have a lot of crowd control to keep BTK at bay. When it comes to BTK, though, I mean, they have the slow, but it's really just Mobazane trying to get a pin onto the wall for an initiation setup. Outside of that, I mean, they are going to have to be a little careful as if they get caught in the chain CC for majority of the heroes on Gaming Gladiators, it will give them a slight advantage on the 5v5 engagements.
Yeah, but this time around, BTK does have the kill pressure onto the top side. You can even see Milo having quite a good lane on the bot side. So, you know, BTK, I feel like their draft, they like what they have picked. Nicolette is on a great mage like Novaria, where the mobility and the outplay is, you know, available for her to use. So I actually think BTK is quite happy in this draft. And I think there's a great potential that they can turn this game just because they have the kill pressure on the top side. Nicolette is on a great hero, but the objective is coming through here.
Yeah, it looks like Mobazane may be able to get the retribution. Best player in position, though. There goes the heavy spin. Zane able to hold off Gaming Gladiators and claim the turtle for the Bloodthirsty Kings, but now needs to get back to safety. The chase is on the way. Circling Eagle from Core World makes his way into the tier 2 turret, and nobody will fall. A good start for the Bloodthirsty Kings, but Gaming Gladiators will go ahead and try and take up this orange buff with no contest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 1k gold lead for the side of the Bloodthirsty Kings. They're able to get the retribution on the objective. No kills are on the board, but once again, BTK have the early game advantage, and this might be what they need to kind of snowball into the game. They don't have to get a lot of the kills, but definitely a small gold lead can boost them into a winning advantage, especially when it comes down to that mid and that late game where, you know, all the kills are important. The kills, the scoreboard is, you know, available, and they have a lot more gold to kind of deal the damage that they need to win in a lot of these team fights.
Yeah, and I think the Akai, I mentioned that, like I said, I had a hunch that that was going to be the jungler selected for the Bloodthirsty Kings because he just works really well with the play style that BTK kind of goes for. And honestly, it's a good counter for how Gaming Gladiators tries to shut down that play style. They can't really stop him with the CC. As soon as he procs that heavy spin, when you see that turtle getting very low, it's pretty much a 50-50 retro between him and best player at that point. Honestly, working more in Zane's favor. It's Chicken. We'll get first blood, though. Is going to find Milo in the 1v1 trade on the bot side. Cold World, very low. Needs to get back to safety. Looks like he will be able to get there as Zane will be able to kite off the team of GG.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to say that Bloodthirsty Kings, they have a gold lead onto the gold side. They have a gold lead in the roam position, but now the XP gets taken out in a 1v1 situation. And this is a Lapu Lapu first pick before the export comes through, and losing that 1v1 is huge, right? So BTK now on the back end of things again. The XP is losing, the gold is winning, but it's completely neutralized by the kill that Chicken has on Milo.
You see that sniper damage over there from Nicolette? Great Astro Echo placement as well. Chicken, though, over there on the turtle pit. Looks like they're going to try and claim a turtle for their own. Lost the last one to Mobazane with that heavy spin pin on the wall. There goes the heavy spin again. Chicken, no! We'll get the turtle for Gaming Gladiators. No retribution needed. Able to outdo Mobazane right there. And best player. And GG. Able to even out the turtles.
I feel like this game for BTK is a very, you know, a mental game to go against GG, right? Both of the teams have all-star players that have done so well in a lot of these tournaments. So both of these teams have the ability to win against each other, but it seems like they're just able to get they're able to get Zayn kind of off of his game. And, you know, with the turtle steal right there, it's very uncharacteristic for Zayn to miss a retreat just like that. And, you know, the side of Gaming Gladiators able to capitalize and get another kill onto the bot side.
Yeah, if you look, best player rotated around, helped out Fried Chicken to shut down Milo, overwhelming him and claiming that turret. Top side, though, BTK, they decided to trade in by going in for that orange buff, but also they took the turret on the top side as well. So both teams have the map advantage right now. An 800 gold lead for the side of Gaming Gladiators, but pretty much an even scoreboard. This is just going to boil down to this next turtle spawning in and also the mid lane turret who can kind of claim victorious to open up the map in their favor.
Yeah, and I kind of want to give credits to the Brody there. He's able to take out that top side tower, and he has the early game advantage. You can take a look at the farm. It's already almost like a 600, 700 gold lead for basic there. So definitely a very strong opening by the side of BTK, but they are lacking in other places, right? Milo has been denied twice already. Look at his gold. It's almost 1.52k down from the opposite side where Chicken is in the lead of gold of the whole entire Gaming Gladiators team.
But you are going to see Basic ahead by 500 gold up against Zia to make up for it. On the bot side, though, the Siege 4. The tier 1 turret on the way from the side of BTK, but now a little bit of resistance as Gaming Gladiators is going to push through with the numbers. Heavy spin from Mobazain trying to push them back. Hoon won't find Basic. Mobazain not able to get back. Oh, wait a second. The guiding win. Last second from Cold World to keep Mobazain alive.
Yeah, the saving grace coming out from Cold World, able to get Mobazain out of a situation. I thought Basic was going to get alive, but no, Chicken says no. Zayn, get back into the base. He's able to use the Bravest Fighter stance along with the Flicker to shut down Mobazain once again.
Chicken just out for blood right there. Out for a bloodthirsty king as he finds Mobazain. Turtle will go to the Gaming Gladiators in their favor to give them a slight advantage. Now up by 2,500 gold. We kind of talked about it, right? Those small steps lead to a mile for GG if you're not careful. And they were once up by 500, now up by 2,500. I feel like all I did was blink and that happened, which will put BTK at a slight deficit. They need to be careful. I mean, they do have Mobazain running on the Sakai. They definitely can take the next neutral objectives that do spawn in. But the gold and the jungle and turrets are now in GG's favor.
Yeah, but I still think BTK is holding on quite well in terms of their tower, and they still have the early game advantage for the Brody, so maybe look for a team fight. But at the same time, Gaming Gladiators has done so well in a lot of these engagement, and take a look at this here.
Yeah, Coral should be able to get out of there. He does have the Circling Eagle. Speedy Light Wheels. Oh, close call. Mobazain, he's pushing him back into Coral, though. Needs to be careful. Best player may try and close the distance. Stun decided the tier 2 turret. Coral will be able to get back to safety. Gaming Gladiators still maintaining a presence inside of the jungle so far, trying to possibly open up another opportunity for a turret in the taking. They're now up by 3,000 gold.
Yeah, and Gaming Gladiators, they've just been playing this series quite well. Like, they get the disengage that they're looking for. They don't overextend on any of these fights, and they make sure that they're playing to their comp's greatest strength, which is going to be that carry and also that trio mid that got that MVP early on in this series. And this time around, Hoon has done a great job. Shark, you know, has gone 0 death, and also Zia has been able to farm onto that late game without dying against a Brody, which has quite honestly the counter and a significant advantage early on. But this time around, carry, look at his gold. He's now back in favor, now up against the Brody on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Chicken off to a great start. Highest kills in the game, 3-0-1. Doing a little bit better than Milo on this X-Borg in the XP lane. I mean, it could be credit to that additional turtle they have. But, I mean, still off to a good start, leading the way. I mean, he did find a kill on a Mobazain after that saving grace that we saw, that guiding wind from Cold World. A little bit of that wasted opportunity to go back to safety. Now you are looking at Gaming Gladiators trying to pull the aggro of the Lord, but a contest from the Bloodthirsty Kings.
Yeah, and the Lord is coming down half HP. The Concealed Plague being popped by the side of Gaming Gladiators, and the initiation from Cold World here.
Mobazain trying to wrap around, trying to get a pin, connects on the Shark, but he's able to get out of there last minute.
Basic?
before BTK can shut him down. Basic, though, torn apart. Memories is going to find best player. Mission accomplished. No retribution for GG. But look at Chicken wrapping around. He was able to take that turtle earlier in the game.
No way.
They don't know he's there. Justice Blade's out. No, he's not going to go in. He knows that may be a little bit more than he can handle. And Moba Zane with the retribution claims the objective for the Bloodthirsty Kings as they get the Lord.
And this is what BTK really needs, right? He really needs Basic to be able to deal damage early on, because the timing that GG has is that late game carry. And if Basic is able to do something, it might good, but Milo here looking to push out the members of GG. They have the Lord marching down on the top side. The whole entire bot is completely cleared. BTK having a strong performance in this game too.
Yeah, definitely having a stronger performance as they are trying to turn this back in their favor, trying to claim game number 2 to even out the series. Basic will take a major objective, claims the tier 1 turret in the mid lane, but they are very low, need to kind of disengage. Astro Echo out from Nicolette, connecting to the full team of Gaming Gladiators, as we are going to see the Lord marching toward that tier 2 turret. And last is Sanity from Milo, able to claim it, got what they came for, but do they go in for a little more?
No, I think the disengage is quite good for the side of BTK. They definitely bit off quite a bit, not more than they can chew, since all of them has chose to disengage. Now the mid side does have a little bit of minions. The side of BTK could look to siege, but the side of Gaming Gladiators should be able to protect that, no problem.
Ooh, Zane taking a lot of damage, but the Mathilda play from Cold and the guiding wind gets him out of the tier 2 turret, and a kill on the way is Basic. Torn apart memory onto Chicken. We'll go ahead and burst him down, and they are going to continue to maintain their pressure in Gaming Gladiators jungle.
Is this the upset that we're looking at? Because it's a 1k gold lead, right? The side of Gaming Gladiators, they had a 2k gold lead up, but now this time around, BTK is able to turn things in their favor. Brody already up 300 gold, and you know, this has been a hero that traditionally does not do well in terms of the late game, especially when you deal up against the true damage that the carry has. But the Brody, especially if he has an early game advantage, even if he has a little bit to lead, he's able to deal tons more damage, especially when the carry is not on full item. So this is the time that BTK shines, and they're definitely shining at this moment.
Yeah, looking brighter than ever. Can they keep up this momentum, as they are seeing a little bit of pushback from the side of Gaming Gladiators? Circling Eagle, connecting. Last Sanity from Milo on the best player. Basic will be able to get the kill yet again. Now 3-1-0, leading the way up against Zia, who has yet to pick up a kill this entire game.
Do you see how many times the Circling Eagle has saved the members from BTK? Like, he's able to give, you know, displaced members of BTK and pull them out of bad position. And this is kind of due to the lack of CC that GG has currently. They have the Shark, they have the Ruby, but it's not like the Fredrin set that they had before. They have a Boxia this time around, which provides a lot of utility, a lot of ability to get these objectives, especially in winning matchups. But when it comes down to getting some advantage in terms of the losing, the heavy spin impact that provides a little bit of CC has been quite overwhelming. I mean, honestly, and even with the Novaria coming unchecked this game, it's quite hard for GG's to even make a good move in this series.
Yeah, it's putting them in an awkward binding right there. I mean, you did mention it right there. Moba Zane running with that heavy spin has been a problem. And then he's very comfortable. He's not afraid to overextend with the Akai, because he knows Cold World has his back with the guiding wind when things get a little tricky. I mean, time and time again, you mentioned these Mathilda plays, saving the members of the Bloodthirsty Kings when things look a little tricky. And that goes to show why she's usually banned out. I mean, this is what BTK needs to be able to even out the series, and they're performing way better than game number 1. It was a 2,500 gold lead from Gaming Gladiators, but now BTK is leading by 600 gold. Moba Zane in position for retribution. Gaming Gladiators looking to contest.
Yeah, this is a huge play coming out from BTK. I'm not sure how they're going to be looking to play this out, but definitely they want Chicken to be able to use his ultimates beforehand, but it looks like they're looking to go in. The Lord is marching down. It's so low here.
No, I don't think they'll be able to close the distance. Moba Zane will be able to get the retribution in time. The Lord has gone into the hands of the Bloodthirsty Kings. Chicken may fall, pinned on the wall, and Basic finds his 4th kill of the game to shut him down. BTK looking to take us to a game 3.
Yeah, 2K gold lead, 14 minutes in. The Lord is going to be marching down on the top or the bottom side. It's going to be good news for the side of BTK looking to siege in their inner tower. Now, basic on this Brody. This is kind of the question of the day. Is he going to have enough damage to be able to push the members of Gaming Gladiators out? Because quite honestly, Brody, his skill is going to stop quite soon, especially since he's almost onto that full build. He's got the Demon Hunter sword for a little bit more late game damage, looking to build up for that wind, and has the anti-heal, so definitely he has the ability to deal tons of damage. But once again, Carry has the Malefic Roar. He's looking to scale onto that late game, but the CC provided by Mobazane might just be too much to handle for the side of Gaming Gladiators to be able to defend under these inner towers.
That's right, in the battle of push versus pull will be on the way. BTK pushing through, trying to open up the base for Gaming Gladiators, who's left on the defense and stripped down to their inhibitor turrets. Now, all the hard work Chicken did on this Lapu Lapu was kind of undone by the hard work of Basic with the 4-1-0 on the Brody. Zia needing to find a way to step up to the plate and deal the damage necessary to burst down the Bloodthirsty Kings. Best player, very low, hit very hard. Astro Echo from Nicolette doing a great job slowing down the team of Gaming Gladiators and enhancing the damage output to them for the Bloodthirsty Kings, having such a strong impact on this Navaria.
And this is exactly what we've all kind of been waiting for as kind of the viewers or the casters here, is the rise of the BTK, right? And, you know, quite honestly, they haven't had the best performance, especially during week 1, but now it definitely seems like they've put the pedal on the gas and they're kind of pushing up for momentum. They're quite, you know, honestly on par with Gaming Gladiators in this game. And quite honestly, they've banned out like 3-4 of Mobazane's heroes. So this time around, you know, BTK is able to kind of get the up in these team fights. Even with Milo dying left and right, it seems like Basic on this Brody just provides so much early game damage that BTK is just able to get a few of these winning pickoffs and able to kind of convert that into some real estate.
You know, it's amazing that it's only 4-4 on the scoreboard, 16 minutes in. We're under double digits right now, UA. Both sides playing full objective focused and doing a great job on top of that. But BTK able to maintain the pressure on the map and doing it a little bit better than Gaming Gladiators so far for game number 2. I mean, they have a lot more on the line with this match, right? This is match point. If they lose this, it's a clean sweep from GG. They want to be able to get higher on that ladder, and if they can shut down GG, they may be able to make the deficit of losing to Area 77 in day 1. As you are going to see this Lord spawn in, Mobazane in position for another retribution. The last Lord, we saw best player having a hard time closing that distance, and Zane able to get it with little to no contest.
Yeah, but we're starting to see kind of the scale of GG, right? The Lapu Lapu isn't as effective as it should be, especially when you go into that mid game. The X-Borg is going to scale quite well. Novaria also scaling quite well, but the initiation coming through from Gaming Gladiators, some ultimates has been used. And I think BTK has a little bit more utility, especially pairing this Matilda and also the range coming out from Novaria. The longer these team fights go, I think BTK is going to have a much better standing to get the pick off that they've been looking for.
Yeah, Milo able to get that Faraga armor to harass the side of Gaming Gladiators. Astro Echo is going to connect from Nicolette. Luminous Lord now in play. Best player, very low, torn apart memories. Basic, eyes on the prize, high value target is going to find best player, which means BTK will be able to claim this Lord uncontested.
Yeah, see, so people should be picking up this Brody quite often. It's not only a lane bully, but when you have all the items, when you're able to get onto that mid and late game, especially with a hero like Brody, you still have the opportunity to deal a lot of damage late game, and especially getting those last hit pickoffs. And you know, this time around, BTK looking for another engagement.
Zia way far outside of the protection from his team, getting bursted down even though he has the damage. Not able to find a kill, and now an opportunity for BTK to even out the series. Takes the inhibitor for the top side. They have a Luminous Lord marching on the bottom as well, and it looks like they're going to sink these lanes.
Yeah, no Basic, but no Zia on the opponent's side. It is 25 seconds until Zia comes up. The Lord is going to be marching down. So the side of BTK, they have to look to see if they can get initiation onto the mid side. And look at Milo going in on Hoon.
Yeah, they have 15 seconds before Zia spawns in, and looks like BTK is going to go in to try and close it out. They did lose Basic, though, which is going to limit their push potential. Best player trying to get out of there, back to the base, able to get the regen just in time. Luminous Lord hitting the base. Crystal Chicken fighting, trying to take down Mobazane, Cold World, and also Milo by himself. Nicolette will be able to claim the last standing inhibitor for the mid lane, and the base has been completely open for Gaming Gladiators.
Now, this is a huge push coming out from BTK. They're able to take out their mid turret, which is pretty much the last inner inhibitor that the side of GG has. Now, BTK, they have lots of late game insurance. All their whole entire mid tower is still up. Top and bottom outer towers are still available. So for the side of BTK, even if they were to lose maybe a few of their members, they should be able to defend quite well. Now, for the side of Gaming Gladiators, unfortunately, they do not have any more insurance available. And take a look at kind of the team fight that is being available. BTK has picked off multiple members of Gaming Gladiators, time after time, and it just seems like the Akai with the heavy spin, along with the Brody early game damage, the Matilda, the saving grace, and the win, and also the Navaria. It's extremely hard to deal against the standings that BTK has for Gaming Gladiators, quite honestly.
Hoon just picked up that Winter Truncheon too, so he has a little bit of a trick up his sleeve over there up against BTK when they do fight this out. Looks like they're prepping for a final engagement. Both sides playing it safe, knowing not to overextend by themselves. But look at the bot side. I mean, look how far Zia is. I don't really know if that's the move right there, because Shark by himself, if BTK can sniff them out, I don't think they can get out of this UA. Here it goes. Oh. Look at Zane. Look at him. Where's Waldo over here looking through every bush trying to find him?
I'm not even sure if it's a good idea for them to try and sniff out the bot side, because quite honestly, the K should be able to burst out anyone that comes, even if it's just a Mobazane, right? So the side of BTK, they kind of have to tag along 2 with 2, but I feel like even if it's like 2-on-2, the carry and the Ruby should be able to burst out any single person that comes in play. But now they see that Zia's on the bot side. BTK looking to engage onto the Lord, and they're looking like they're getting the team fight that they're looking for.
Ooh, last sanity goes out. Torn apart memories as well. Milo will find Shark. They are down 1 member, but without the torn apart memories, it may be a counterplay from the side of Game Gladiators. Even Zane using the heavy spin, catching best player, but he's able to wrap around. Maybe a misplay from the side of BTK if they're not careful. Chicken, Immortality has been procced inside of the full team of BTK. Use the Winter Truncheon and Nicolette with the snipe to shut him down, execution style, and BTK will regain their composure in the Lord Pit, but they're going in for body. Zia hit with the snipe. Nicolette trying to get another kill. Forced to go back to the base. Still getting burned over there with the damage. And it looks like Bloodthirsty Kings, they don't want the Lord. They want the game ender. They want to take this to a game number 3, and they may be able to do that just yet. Nicolette will go ahead and shut down best player Hoon, and Zia by themselves against the full team of the Bloodthirsty Kings. Can they hold him off? Hoon back to the base, force him region. Zia hit with the knockup, but down goes the base. Crystal. And BTK is taking us to a game number 3 against Gaming Gladiators.
Oh, this is the exciting match that we've been all waiting for. BTK able to get victorious on this second game of the Best of 3 series, putting it to a 1-1 against pretty much the strongest team in North America. And I definitely feel like if there's any team that's able to kind of upset this rival, it's definitely going to be BTK, especially with the all-star lineup that they have. 10, 5, and 34 is the overall team KDA, and you can look at the assists across the board. That is a lot of assists for the side of the Kings.
I love seeing series go to a game number 3 in a great way to kind of end the last series for the day of the most anticipated match between the 2 powerhouse teams of North America. BTK showing up, stepping up to the plate and performing, shutting down Gaming Gladiators, finding a way to deny them on their game plan for Mobazane with the crowd control. Pull out the Akai, pull out the Mathilda combination, and you kind of got a best of everything you need to be able to be a bully on the neutral objectives. And that's what we've seen right there is Mobazane able to claim these turrets, these turtles, these lords, and also BTK able to close out this game to take us to game number 3 up against GG.
Yeah, and if you take a look at all the members of BTK, they've all made a significant impact in that game. Milo dying twice early on, able to get a lot of shutdowns, especially onto that late game. Nicolette, again, 0 deaths. We talked about this Novaria being a problem in especially the utility-dominated jungler drafts, and Novaria definitely is extremely annoying here. I don't think the Navaria is going to be available on the very third game. Basic is going to be the one that is the rich guy. And, you know, the impact that he had on the Brody, especially early on, able to pick kills after kills, especially since he had so much kill pressure onto the gold lane. The sandbag goes to Mobazane on the Akai, definitely well-deserved, tanked up, soaked up so much damage, and was able to get a few of those retributions coming off. And when we talked about Cold World, right, he was able to use the guiding wind to kind of defend and you know, displace Mobazane to put him in a much safer position. Now take a look at the team fight participation across the board for the side of BTK. 90% for Basic, 90% for Nicolette, and 100% for Mr. Cold World.
Yeah, 10-5 on the scoreboard to finish that out as well. Massive damage taken over there, mostly from Mobazane over there for BTK. On the other side, best player, you know, on that Boxia pickup. And honestly, I feel like with the way that draft kind of worked out, Gaming Gladiators put themselves in a pinch, right? They allowed them to get the Navaria, they allowed them to get the Mathilda, and then they allowed Mobazane to get a hero that they can't bully with crowd control because he has the heavy spin. And that's what really worked out in their favor, not only to keep Mobazane alive, but some great rotation, some great focus on the objectives is what made the difference for Bloodthirsty Kings in game number 2. Now, was it finding the needle in the haystack though, Yue? Was it the fact that they were able to pull off that almost godly composition that works really on BTK's playstyle? Can they get that again? Because I don't see Gaming Gladiators allowing them to get a Mathilda and an Akai combination again. I think if they lost the Mathilda and just had the Akai, it would be a little bit harder. Or if they lost the Akai and had the Mathilda, it'd be a little bit harder because they need the Akai to be able to engage and take the neutral objectives, but they need somebody to be able to get them out to safety at the end of it. And speaking of safety, some amazing matches already on the board so far for the final series of the day. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the replays from the last game that we just saw between BTK and Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, again, Milo right here creating the impact, especially early on, soaking up so much damage here. His Alraga armor got taken off, but I honestly felt like Chicken kind of outplayed himself, especially towards this mid to late game, right? He was kind of go into the back line, but he was just getting punished back to back. But when you take a look at BTK's draft, you talked about the haystack, the needle in the haystack. I don't think it is all luck, right? The Brody that does well against carry pretty much provided the damage that the side of BTK was looking to have, right? The Novaria also is a great matchup to go against the Vexana onto the mid side, has the mobility, has the range to outrange the Vexana. And if you take a look at the damage dealt onto that hero, you can't see the bar once again. So it's providing kind of the same exact picture that we've seen kind of in game 1, but it is just a reverse, right? Basic picking up that early game marksman, dominating in his lane. Novaria also winning in that matchup. You could argue that the 50-50 between best player on the on the Boxia and the Akai is quite even, but I think we're going into the draft here, Weezy. Third game?
That's right, game number 3, final game of the day between North America's powerhouse teams, Gaming Gladiators and the Bloodthirsty Kings. The only time we'll see these two face off in the regular season, maybe able to see them again in the playoffs, possibly the grand finals if both sides are lucky. But luck has nothing to do with it. It's definitely going to be execution, and that's what these teams are doing today, executing. BTK not able to claim game 1. Gaming Gladiators taking it away from them with their very smooth finish. But game number 2, able to find their momentum, their proper footing in BTK, evening out this series. Now, I know we kind of had our opinions about, is that the needle in the haystack? Is it luck? Can it happen again? From what it sounds like, from what you were saying, you believe it can. From what I believe, I think it can too, but a couple of things have to be checked off the board. Number 1, Zane has to find a jungler that can get to these neutral objectives. The reason being is these turtles is what adds up to the side laners winning, right? That's what helps Chicken get online. That's what helps Basic get online. That's what helps Milo get online. That's what helps Zia get online. And these are the players that make up the difference when it comes to the engagements, the split pushing, and the damage needed for the 5v5 engagements. I think Gaming Gladiators put themselves in a pinch. They allowed the Mathilda to walk. They allowed the Akai to walk, which allowed Zane to take these neutral objectives and play for what he's more known for, being that bully inside the jungle. Now, does he pick up the Akai again? Possibly. They don't have first pick though, which will put them in a little bit of a bind. If they let the Mathilda walk, I could see Gaming Gladiators possibly taking this up. I don't think they'll let BTK have that, and it should be a possible ban to finish off the first phase for BTK.
Yeah, well, the Navaria gets taken off the board. The Fredrin is still available. This is what the GG strategy was during game 1, is picking up the Fredrin quite early. And honestly, since BTK's draft, it's still the same bans here. They took off the Joy, they took off the Nolan. It's quite traditional here coming through. But I would say this though, this is a tricky situation where do we want Zia to go on the carry once again? He didn't get a kill on this game 2, but he dominated during game 1. So maybe we give the carry again. Maybe we pick up the early game marksman. Once again, it is still the same exact opening. Best player able to pick up this Fredrin, but I think this time BTK has a lot more steam in their arsenal. I think the Ruby can be a good pickup. The Navaria already gets banned out, so maybe the Faramis or the Vexana could be an early pickup.
Or the Mathilda and the Akai. Instant lock-in from the side of BTK because they pick up the Fredrin. What is going on right now? I mean, hey, if they're not gonna ban it, you might as well just pick that up, bro. Honestly, I really think that helped them so much in that game, and it would work out again right here. Yes, you have some other additional options on the table. The Vexana could be a strong pickup, but you might actually just let that walk. No, they're going to go in for the carry, though, and the Mathilda combination. Okay, at least they got the Mathilda here, which is going to guarantee them safety when it comes to Zane being aggressive with these frontline composition junglers. For the side of Game of Gladiators, though, I mean, they had the carry last game, and Zia, he just didn't really step up to the platform to be able to fight it out. I really didn't see Zia having a heavy impact in majority of that game. There's a lot of overextensions. He was trying to burst them down from the bush, and even when they tried to get a backdoor play on the bot side, it was just a little awkward with not having the proper positioning. As soon as they saw Zia down, they're like, okay, free Lord. They're missing a member, and they're able to make the most out of the situation. So jumping into this game, maybe getting Zia online should be the focus for Game of Gladiators, as they are going to go ahead and finish their first phase of this draft, picking up the CC alongside the Valentina.
I'm scared here because I do think the counter to the CC is going to be the export, right? But if they want to have the set potential, Mathilda is not going to be the one that pins down anything for basic. It's going to be something like the Akai, right? But they have to choose. Either they take the Akai, ban the export, or it's going to be the vice versa. And there's also mages that are available, right? You could grab the Faramis early on. You could grab the Vexana. But again, if these heroes are not being picked up by BTK, they're going to get banned out by the side of GG. And this is a very tough situation. The Akai gets picked up. I think that's a good response because that does help the carry so much more. And we saw from the side of GG, carry was unable to get a kill off in the game too, but this time around with the Akai pinning down, it might just smell trouble for the side of GG to be able to deal with the single target damage that the carry has.
But this works in Game of Gladiators' favor, though, because they have the Valentina. So now they have the heavy spin, and that was a staple of what helped BTK take the neutral objectives. So I think this is a good start for Game of Gladiators inside of this draft. Now it's just going to be a battle of who uses that heavy spin first, and that's what Hoon's going to be looking out for. He's just going to wait for Mobile Zane to use the heavy spin, and then he's going to do it right after him, or if anything, at the same time for these engagements, which is going to be a little bit more challenging for the Bloodthirsty Kings jumping into game number 3. I think it's a good read from the side of Game of Gladiators to be able to put a little bit more contest on the neutral objectives.
But I do want to stress a little bit on in terms of the winning matchups and the winning lanes, right? If GG is, using the same strategy that BTK used in game 2, they're going to pick up the Brody. They're going to pick up the Harriet, which does traditionally well against the carry. But no, they actually allow the Harriet and the Brody to be options of Zia. They do take away the Xia, so that's something that maybe Zia likes to play against the carry. The Arlot export gets taken off the board. The Yuzong is still available. The Terizla, which does really well against the backlines and the front lines of Game of Gladiator, is going to be a potential. Nicolette, with no mages being banned on the board, picks up the Faramis. That's going to be a strong dual mid, especially since Valentina doesn't have the best clear early on.
Yeah, and it puts Valentina in a bind where do you go for the Nether Realm or do you go for the heavy spin for these neutral objectives? But you can't get both of them. You are going to look at Zia picking up this Brody. This is going to be a Brody versus a carry again, similar to game number 2, but it's going to be on the opposite side of the table for both teams. This time Zia is not the carry. He will be the Brody. He didn't have a strong impact on the carry, and maybe this is the difference. KBC Basic, though, have the impact in the carry that Zia didn't for game number 2. One more pick on the board for both sides. Now, they run in the double support method for BTK. that's kind of like a hit or miss in my opinion. We see it on the international scene, sometimes works, sometimes not, but in the NA scene, it hasn't really been as promising. Honestly, I want to say most of the time we've seen a double support meta, it just really hasn't worked out because there's just not that much damage anymore. When you're going in for a Mathilda and a Faramis and then an Akai who's not really that heavy of a hitter himself, it puts a lot of pressure on Basic to kind of bring that damage to the table. And if he falls behind on these neutral objectives, if BTK does not get these turtles, then it's going to take even longer for Basic to deal the damage necessary that BTK is going to be relying on.
You know, I do want to see a Terizla coming out from Milo. The side of Gaming Gladiators do not have kind of the true damage shred, the X-Borg that counters Terizla, the carry that counters it. But no, Milo is going to pick up this dragon. Now, the draft coming from both sides is quite interesting here. Zia grabs up the Brody, deals, you know, quite good against the carry, and also has torn apart memory to deal a lot of AoE damage to go against the Faramis. Once again, he talked about the Hoon matchup where he has to decide between the Cold Altar or the heavy spin there. But CC, I feel like, is a raw element that might be able to kind of carry the game, since I don't actually know if Yuzhong should be able to handle fried chicken on this hero. But both drafts has been locked in. Shark picks up the Minotaur that has been banned multiple times in today, and I feel like that might be very, very tough for the side of BTK to handle, because that is an AoE knockup that can kind of you know, keep the Cold Altar, the heavy spin, and also the Black Dragon at bay.
You know, I love seeing series go to a game number 3, regardless of who wins this one, man. I'm just excited that we're able to get to this point, as we are now jumping into the final match of the day. The Bloodthirsty Kings up against Gaming Gladiators. BTK able to take game number 2. GG, victorious in game number 1. But hey, we're just getting started as match 3 has officially began. Who will be able to claim victory in this series?
And once again, BTK is going to be the underdog in this series, but they had a great game 2, and quite honestly, the game 1 opening was also quite good for the side of BTK. So it definitely feels like they understand how to deal with the aggressiveness coming out from Gaming Gladiators and even give them a small lead up to an advantage. But for the side of Gaming Gladiators, they have to hold strong, right? This is a team that has done so well pretty much throughout the whole entire tournament, and now they are faced with a potential loss against the late Kings that they have done so well to deal against here.
Yeah, we are going to have to kind of pay attention to Shark, though, over there on this Minotaur. He is going to have the Minoan Fury for the knockup, which is going to keep Zayn in his tracks, even when he tries to go in for that heavy spin on the neutral objectives, on top of having Hoon, who's running the Valentina with the heavy spin at his disposal. I think it would be better for him to pick up the heavy spin instead of the Nether Realm, but I feel like it's just going to be situationally dependent on what's there for the taking. When it comes to the neutral engagement, so maybe the heavy spin just to zone out BTK will be his game plan, unless he's going to play for survivability. In that case, it could give BTK the advantage to be able to get these neutral objectives. But we are seeing Zia and Basic on the bot side, a flip around at the carry and the Brody. Now, how will this play out, right? Both of them has the damage necessary for the late game, but Zia will be able to survive a little bit better, having that corrosive strike, having that flicker at his disposal, whereas Basic's going to be a little bit more stationary. He didn't even go in for the flicker. He went in for the purify instead. Looks like he's worried a little bit about that crowd control provided by Shark.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit scared for the carry versus the Brody matchup, right? The Brody has dominated pretty much that whole entire lane, and he's even able to kind of get a late game advantage if he is looking for. So, like, you know, the Brody is quite strong, and we're seeing some early game marksmen like the Bruno dominating into that gold side. So I definitely feel like Zia has a great chance onto the bot side, but the turtle is now started for the side of Gaming Gladiators. This time, BTK not even looking to contest on the neutral objective.
Yeah, they need to be careful, though, as this is what Gaming Gladiators wants. They know they can snowball. If they continue to take these turtles, then they'll be able to pretty much have an advantage on the side lanes with the XP boost provided. As you are looking at Zia, who can play a little bit more aggressive on the Brody. You stack up some gold on top of that, and it'll give Basic a harder time.
Yeah, definitely a harder time for the side of Basic onto the gold lane, but this is a matchup that he is quite familiar with. Now, if we take a look at the mid side, right, Hoon has the Black Dragonborn, so no utilities for the side of Gaming Gladiators, but I don't think a team fight is going to break out yet, so it's going to be interesting to see how this Black Dragon comes through. But again, onto the bot side, you can see that Zia is having a much greater time shoving the lane, has the gold advantage, has the XP advantage over Basic. basic, and it's already a level difference now. You know, Zia with the Brody, especially in terms of the early game, has a lot of impact, has a lot of kill pressure. So the side of BTK really have to be careful to make sure that this gold lane matchup does not snowball out of control.
Yeah, I mean, he does have that Black Dragon. He didn't go in for the heavy spin. He didn't go in for the Nether Realm. But instead, something else entirely. I wonder if he's going to hold on to that, though, especially with this turtle spawning in. I mean, yes, he can drop onto the back line if necessary, but needs to be careful as he is a back line himself. Mobazane, though, pulled back to safety again. This Mathilda and Akai combination proven to work in their favor. Speaking of Mathilda, though, Mathilda Airlines in effect onto Hoon, but is going to disengage back to BTK's jungle.
I do want to say that Cold World is extremely good at using the Matilda ult to engage and disengage for his own safety. But Milo, double Petri.
Yeah, Hoon caught with a lot of CC, and Nicolette will be able to shut him down. First blood for the Bloodthirsty Kings. And that's off to a good start, as you are going to see this turtle spawn in, and they do have the numbers to take this.
Yeah, they do have a small advantage now with that pick off, but it seems like the gold lead is still inside of Gaming Gladiators' favor, right? It's about a 1k gold lead. They're even going to be the one initiating the buffs up. So definitely it seems like Gaming Gladiators, they have a much stronger opening. The Fredrin paired up with the knockup coming out from the Minotaur is just a little bit too much to handle for the side of BTK, especially in the early game objectives.
And there goes Brody, showcasing his survivability. A 3-man gank on the bot side before Hoon can even get there, and he's still able to find himself alive with that corrosive strike and also that flicker combination, which means he is still going to be able to sustain himself on the bot side. Turtle will go to the Gaming Gladiators, the second turtle of the game, uncontested in their hands.
Yeah, but the gold lead is still close, right? We saw GG able to have that 1k gold lead. Now, after the objective, it is still onto 1k. That just means that Basic is able to grab up actually quite a good amount of gold onto the bot side. And that is, you know, quite good for the carry, right? They have the heavy spin to be able to pin people for the carry to get that free hit. But is that going to truly be enough to deal with the frontline presence that the Minnow and the Fredrin has? That is a question that we kind of have to ask BTK to see if they're willing to show us here.
Yeah, and speaking of showcasing some things, heavy spin in the mid lane from Mobazane. Back to safety he goes. Now, we're hitting a lot of benchmarks. This is the highest anticipated game of the NACT spring season so far. And for 2024 NACT spring regular season, we have hit our highest peak concurrent viewers, over 15,000 viewers. Make sure you guys leave a like and share the stream and cheer on your favorite team.
Yeah, it's definitely the match to watch for, and especially since we're going on to a game 3, a very classic game, and Zia here looking to get bursted down.
Yeah, 1-for-1 trade though, as Basic will fall. Both marksmen's losing out on that engagement. Zia gets an assist, but Basic gets a kill, which means he is going to be favored a little bit more on that trade-off.
Yeah, do we call that kind of like the Dragon Ball Z where both members kind of kill each other? But again, you know, the side of BTK, they have the ability to deal a lot of damage, and we haven't seen, especially in the series, that the carry is, you know, that significant of a pick, right? The Brody deals quite well, especially in the 1-versus-1 position. There's plenty of great early game marksmen, but Zane gets denied away with the buff there. He has the retribution is coming up in 15 seconds, and best player also has retribution here available.
All right, UA, we said it right. These turtles are going to start adding up. Once they get this third turtle for Gaming Gladiators, if BTK does not find a contest, then it's going to be a hard time. And it looks like they are finding one though. Look at the bot side. You are looking at Basic stripping down the turret. We'll be able to find that in BTK's favor, which means they did find a proper trade-off to work in their favor.
Yeah, but look at the gold lead. Like, it's literally nothing compared to, you know, both of the members. And another guiding win, saving the Akai from a bad situation. Cold World really standing up to the tanking ability that Shark has. Like, it's definitely, you know, 1-for-1 here in terms of the roam position. Like, both of them are making significant impacts, and, you know, it's quite hard for Shark to, you know, deny a lot of the utilities coming out from Cold World here. So BTK quite in a good standing here. They have the bot side tower. It has been traded, but Basic has the time to kind of scale quite well here in the mid game.
Yeah, and speaking of scaling, Black Dragon from Milo trying to seize the opportunity to double petrify. Basic will find Zia, another realm, keeping BTK alive. Mobazane will shut down Hoon, 2-for-none trade. BTK stampeding through and may be able to take this mid turret with the advantage of the separation or a top side. They need to get some more real estate on the map, as right now GG has a slight advantage since they have 2 turtles up against them, up by 700 gold.
Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting here that Hoon hasn't really picked up the Nether Realm versus the side of BTK. The Nether Realm has been quite impactful in a lot of these team fights. So I do think it's time for Hoon to kind of step up to the plate and deal with the aggressiveness that Nicolette has, because right now Nicolette is playing a much better mage than Hoon there. But top side here, Basic looking to engage.
No, Fury does get procced by Shark, not going to knock up any members of BTK. Milo will take down Fried Chicken. Now the Seas of Opportunity. Basic will claim the tier 1 turret. BTK getting what they came for, but Moba Zane needing to get out of there. Hit with a little bit of CC, but saved by the guiding wind provided by Cold World.
It's just the guiding wind from Cold World is just looking so good. And look at the zone coming out from the backside. Cold World actually doesn't have that much armor or defense. He only has, the bomb comes through.
Yeah, but Basic able to claim the tier 1 turret in the mid lane. BTK inching their way up the map against Gaming Gladiators. Now are leading in terms of gold and in terms of turrets on the map, up by 2, stripping down Gaming Gladiators to their tier 2 turrets and controlling the early phases. We are now hitting close to that 10-minute mark. Lord is in play. Gaming Gladiators has been able to take majority of these neutral objectives as BTK has been able to claim the turrets, but who will be able to claim this first Lord?
Yeah, and the side of BTK, they're kind of playing this bully ball formation, right? They group up as a 5-man, they get the picks that they're looking for, and they're able to siege up pretty much any objective they are wanting. But the side of Gaming Gladiators, they're kind of struggling in a lot of these 4 versus 5, 5 versus 5 formation, and the circling wind comes through.
Yeah, Mathilda Airlines for the knockup. Hoon very low. Milo smells the low HP. A shark in the water, out for blood. A terrifying quadruple knockup with the furious dive of the Black Dragon. And Milo, Shaw Essence activated, sustains himself, gets out alive. Best player. Very low. Uses it, Praises Wrath onto the side of BTK. Tries to get away, back to safety. The chase though, Furious Soul Grip from Milo, able to take him down. That is going to be 2 members falling for Gaming Gladiators. BTK, all 5 members standing strong.
The 7-1 scoreboard. The goal lead is still quite close for both teams, but it definitely feels like the side of BTK has the lead in a lot of these team fights. And I honestly feel like it's due to Milo. Milo is playing quite perfectly here. Cold World is going to be the one that's saving grace for the side of BTK, getting some huge sets with the Circling Eagle. And of course, Zane right here, still 0 deaths on the board for majority of the players of BTK. They're just team fighting quite well. And the bully ball style, it might be, in time for Zane to kind of turn that leaf, getting his heroes back together. The Akai seems like it's going to be the right answer to deal with a lot of the aggressiveness that Gaming Gladiators can provide.
This Mathilda and Akai combination is giving Gaming Gladiators such a hard time. I'm surprised that they let BTK do this again with how well they performed in the last match. It was like Gaming Gladiators was confident on possibly having an answer, but BTK still kind of outperforming them and scaling a little bit better. They're 7-1 right now in terms of kills over there for BTK. And it looks like they're going to try and climb in for even more. Circling Eagle. Moba Zane is going to ride the guiding wind. Is going to proxy the minions as well. Milo, a dive in on the Fried Chicken. Praises Wrath from Best Player. Connecting on a Basic. Nicolette very low. Is going to go back. But Cold World able to sustain the team and keep them alive.
Yeah, now BTK has the turn to be able to siege onto this mid tower. They had a great entire fight there, but the utilities of both teams are still available. The Purify on Cold World and Basic up for grabs. The Flicker also for the whole entire team of Gaming Gladiators available, but both teams have not decided to pull the guns now because honestly, the Lord is coming up in 90 seconds. This is going to be a very important Luminous Lord, and the side of BTK seems like they have the map available. They even have Zane onto the boss side, and even with Cold World, not scared to kind of just zone away some of the members away from their buff, away from their jungle, providing so much vision for the side of BTK to work with.
And Basic all over the map right now, 3-1-3, leading the way, outscaling Zia. Outclassing, at least for the last 2 games. He did it on the Brody, and now he's doing it on the carry against the Brody. And doing an amazing job on top of that. 3,600 gold lead for the side of the Bloodthirsty Kings, as they are now in control of this game at the 12-minute mark. It looks like we're going to be playing into a late match here, UA, for the final match of the day.
Yeah, and this is where it's extremely exciting. But again, Gaming Gladiators is one of those teams that is able to get a win in the late game, regardless of the scores early on. So BTK, they definitely still have to hold it tight. They cannot just throw and just do their wombo combos without really using their brains. Like, they have to make sure they get the right pickoffs. But again, I feel like Hoon is lacking a little bit in this department, but the circling winds coming through.
Yeah, Mathilda Airlines, in effect, heavy spin is going to go out from Hoon using the IMU against BTK, but is it enough to stop them? Moba Zane on the chase, but now the counterplay from Gaming Gladiators. Minoan Fury for the quadruple knockup. NetherRealm has been knocked out over there from Nicolette to keep them alive. Coldworld will find Shark. Down goes the Roamer for GG, and now the counter back from the Bloodthirsty Kings Chicken. Very low torn apart memories from Zia. Finds one, takes down Coldworld. A 1-for-1 trade.
A whole entire team fight, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. A beautiful fight coming out from both teams, but you could really see the NetherRealm sustain coming out from Nicolette is just too much to handle. You can also see Hoon picking up the heavy spin, using it early on, and you have Zane there trying to defend onto that, but look at Milo right there, gets the two-man petrify. He's able to get onto the backside, picking off Hoon multiple times in pretty much all of these team fights here.
Yeah, and the next Lord is in play. Gaming Gladiators in position. Best player trying to bait out BTK to take this fight into the Lord pit. The last Lord went over to the Bloodthirsty Kings. Gaming Gladiators has been struggling a little bit in the later half of today's match. BTK has been able to find the advantage they're looking for. Speaking of advantage, Lord very low. Black Dragon from Lilo circling around is going to drop down for the Petrify. Zane will be able to claim the Lord for the Bloodthirsty Kings. Maybe able to get some bodies to praise the wrath from best player. Is going to connect on to Milo, knocking him airborne, proccing the immortality. Coldworld very low himself. Nicolette will find fried chicken. Hoon is going to find Milo to respond. A 1-for-1 trade so far. Zane with a lot of CC. Trap inside of the full team of Gaming Gladiators will pull back to safety from Coldworld with the guiding wind. Coldworld taking all the hits though. Torn apart memories from Zia to seal his fate. 3 members down as Zia finds Moba Zane. A 3-for-1 trade.
Oh, that's a huge turnaround for the side of Gaming Gladiators. And once again, it's the Brody impact, right? The torn apart memory AoE deals so much damage, especially when the members are low on health. And the multiple AoE pretty much counters the Fairmiss ultimate that's coming through to sustain the members of BTK. And I felt like that was even a small misplay coming out from the side of BTK. Zane was in a great position to kind of just hide in the bush and get that reset off, but they chose to go for the risk, and the risk did not pay off. The side of Gaming Gladiators now able to clear this Luminous Lord, giving them another chance in this series.
That's right, and now at that 16-minute mark, we are getting to the late game, right? Over that 40,000 gold threshold. BTK up by 2,000, but everybody getting to full build. You are looking at basic. Dealing some damage, Minoan Fury for the knockup on a Nicolette. The silence in effect for Milo. Triple knockup on a BTK, but Basic will find Shark. Not going to stop them on the push. BTK, Milo rotating around. Basic finds a double speedy light wheels. Is going to find best player. BTK looking to claim some real estate. Milo very low though. Chicken will get the kill. Able to get back to safety as well. BTK looking to siege onto this tier 2 turret in the mid lane.
Yeah, a little bit of over-aggression coming out from Milo there. You know, he's unable to kind of get the kills that he was looking for, but did pop the Purify of Chicken. Unfortunately, it's still a 2-for-1 trade for the side of BTK as they look to go ahead and do that bully ball once again. Able to grab up the mid tower, the top side tower. I'm not sure if they're looking to siege here, but definitely a good push for the side of the Kings.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the minions in play anymore, but they got a lot off of that play, right? Opening up the base, taking down 2 inhibitors, stripping Gaming Gladiators to their last inhibitor on the bot side with half HP, and stacking up some kills on top of that. 6-11 BTK, kind of living up to their name right now. The Bloodthirsty Kings dominating on game number 3, the final match of the day, up against Gaming Gladiators, who needs to find a way to turn this back around. They didn't have an easy time against the Mathilda and Akai combination, and it looks like it's the same thing again for game number 3. And I wonder why they kind of let this walk through, knowing that this kind of favors BTK's playing style, and they're performing today. Gaming Gladiators, if they want to turn this around, it's really going to start with Hoon. I mean, he has to open up really well with this Valentina. Either needs to go in. I would say I wouldn't even go in for the heavy spin right now, unless they're going to go in to try and close it out for BTK. Then yeah, you can use the heavy spin to stop the minions. But outside of that, I think it's going to kind of profit him a little bit better now to go in for Nicolette's NetherRealm to keep the team alive. Or if he does go for the heavy spin, possibly get this neutral objective, but he has to be careful, as with the late game items, BTK can easily burst down a backline.
And you're correct. There's just too much to choose from the side of Gaming Gladiators to try to pick the ult of BTK, right? I do think the sustain coming out, the utility of the Netherrealm is going to be the best option here, but the Black Dragon coming through here.
Ooh, he goes in for the Netherrealm though. Look at Hoon. He picked up the ultimate from Nicolette, but does he have enough time to close the distance? They have to go in. Netherrealm activated. Who will get this Lord? But no one feared for the quad knock up against BTK. Lord will be claimed best player with the retribution. Zia finds Zane. Basic finds best player. Zia takes down Milo for the double kill. The siege is not done though. Cold World, Basic trying to get back to safety alongside Nicolette. Gaming Gladiators putting BTK on their backs for the Lord play, turning this back around in their favor.
Is this going to be a comeback for the Gladiators in this series? It definitely looks like there is potential there. They're able to get that team fight in their favor along with the objective now. 4-man going to be marching down onto the mid side here. And I think, you know, Shark had a great ultimate there, able to get a lot of knockups, and best player with the retribution, able to take the Lord. Now in favor for the side of Gaming Gladiators. It is a 3 versus 4 defense. Zane and Milo is coming up, but that is going to be before the Lord hits onto the bot side tower.
I don't know if they're going to be able to take this though. I mean, the Lord is going to be bursted down. The base is still intact for the side of BTK as they were not able to shut down the inhibitors, but it makes them a little bit more comfortable now. I mean, if they would have lost that Lord, BTK could have closed out that game. And that just shows you that now that we're in the late mark, hitting that 20-minute threshold, it's going to go down to the wire between who has better micro and macro for these team fights.
Now, it's definitely going to be anyone's game, but BTK still has the advantage in terms of the towers, right? The mid and the bot side tower. They also have a lot of ultimates that Hoon kind of has to pick and choose from. Is it going to be the heavy spin? Is it going to be the Netherrealm? They have to make a decision here.
Oh, circling Eagle. Speaking of decisions, Black Dragon, Milo, a little premature. He's going to turn back around. Did you see that? He just completely changed his mind like, right no. there. And hey, I don't disagree with him. That's not the fight you want to take right there.
And, you know, the side of BTK, they have the circling eagle. It's definitely possible that they look for the engagement. But right now, I think it's going to be a bad choice for them to even look to get any part of the map because the Black Dragon is not available. And without that, the gap closing for Milo along with the Petrify is not going to be enough for the side of BTK to get a convincing win here. They got to space out the time, make sure that Milo is able to get the Black Dragon up and available. And they, quite honestly, he can't even look to push onto the bot side, right? The second that they see the Black Dragon on there, they're going to look to 5-man siege for the side of Gaming Gladiators. And 8-12 is the overall scoreboard. 20 minutes in, the gold lead really does not mean too much. What does matter is what ultimate Hoon is willing to take.
Yeah, possibly controlling these lanes, right? If you can put some pressure on a split push, possibly, you can gain control of this map on these neutral objectives as you are looking at 20 seconds to this Lord spawns in, and we can pretty much confirm this should be the last Lord of the game for either side, and I don't even think it's going to boil down to somebody taking this Lord. I think it's just going to boil down to getting the pickoffs and trying to close this out because the respawn timers are way too high to handle.
Most definitely, and I definitely feel like in terms of the team fight, BTK has a lot more in their arsenal, especially with the Black Dragon Petrify shutting down Hoon almost every opportunity he gets. So definitely we have to watch for Milo to see if he can get onto the backside. Of course, Shark is kind of going to be the tank that goes into the front to deal with the Netherrealm if he's able to get that sustain off. And again, the damage coming out from Brody, it is still immense, but at the same time, we're heading into that late game where a lot of the teammates of BTK has some armor to be able to deal with the turn apart memory that they have. The Shark looking to go in here.
Yeah, Milo opening up with the Petrified Black Dragon. Netherrealm.
Oh, that's huge.
A little early from Hoon. A big play for BTKs. They still have it over there for Nicolette if they do want to take this fight. Milo does not have that Black Dragon, though. Looks like Gaming Gladiators, they realize they need that utility back, so they're going to disengage a little bit, but it opens up the opportunity for BTK to take this Lord. I mean, look at Basic, already chipping it down, using Speedy Light Wheels, Cold World, over Zane, Nicolette, zoning out Gaming Gladiators from finding the opportunity. The taunt on the best player. The knockup, though, the response back. Gaming Gladiators, if they want to have a chance, they need to find a way to get inside of the Lord pit, but Basic. Shifting focus over, the best player finds a jungler. Back to safety, best player goes. Netherrealm activated over there from Nicolette to keep BTK alive, and now it's a small window. They will be able to take this Lord as Gaming Gladiators not able to close the distance. And with that major objective, a chance for BTK to possibly close out this series. I mean, I don't even see the Lord's HP right now. I'm imagining it's about 25% HP.
No.
Okay, it is very low. You're going to see the knock up though, the airborne fly from Milo. Terrified, immortality being proc. Lord, not even at the retribution mark yet. Milo will fall. Zia will be able to shut him down. Circling Eagle connecting. Corrosive Strike from Zia, trying to get away from Cold World. And now Gaming Gladiators does have the numbers, but look at the minions already at the base crystal, taking it down to 50%.
Yeah, GG's, they definitely looked for the opportunity there. They knew Nicolette did not have the mana available to cast any spell, so they looked to engage. It was a 4 versus 4 situation. And also, you know, in terms of the marksman, it's not available. Basic is on the bot side here. So they're looking to get these fights without basic. Now, it's kind of like the banana split strategy that they're looking for. I'm not sure if that's exactly what BTK needs in order to take the wins in these fights.
Yeah, and Hoon used the Netherrealm and Owen Fury for the knockup on the BTK. They're going in for it. Basic finds best player. This is big. The Bloodthirsty Kings, a heavy spin on the wall, catching Shark, circling Eagle, Cold World, Mathilda Airlines connecting. Shark immortality has been procced, but Chicken joining the party. Both sides down one member, but best player out of the playing field means Gaming Gladiators does not have a retribution.
Yeah, and now BTK actually gets the rise up, right? 40 seconds for best player. They can kind of take their time, make sure this Lord is synced, and it's guaranteed for the side of BTK. And this is huge for the Kings of the Kings here, right? They're getting the upset that they're looking for. It is into that late game where both teams pretty much have to make these high IQ plays. And BTK, it feels like their comp is just slightly better. There's just too much great ultimates that BTK has that, you know, the side of Gaming Gladiators have to choose. And now the Lord is coming down.
Yeah, it looks like BTK will be able to claim this with no contest. A big target to be able to close this game. I mean, look how long it took with their entire team trying to burst it down with no contest. We would have been sitting there for days if both of these teams would have been fighting it out on a Lord dance. But BTK now having a major advantage to be able to close this out with the Luminous Lord on their side.
But it's definitely not still a guaranteed, right? The Lord is going to be marching down. It is going to be a +1 for the side of BTK, but it is coming down onto the mid side. I don't like the Lord typically coming down the mid side. Top and bot definitely feels like it's a much better banana split to split the enemy teams, but we are going into this 25 minutes where pretty much the carry scales onto the maximum potential. The Brody does not have the impact that he has, especially early on. And of course, the Black Dragon form along with the Petrify has been kind of the death of the side of GG.
And BTK trying to go in for the game ender. Milo starting it early, drops down with the Black Dragon, Petrify, forcing out the Netherrealm over there from whom with the IMU. A lot of mobility on the board and utility being wasted. Boba Zane, heavy spin, catches best player. Basic will go ahead and shut him down. Speedy Light rolls down, goes the Lord though. Gaming Gladiators trying to hold him off, not trying to let them to finish off this game. They still have minions to work in their favor though, and they do have the numbers as Gaming Gladiators is one short with best player falling. Do they go in for the game ender? Minions on the top, minions on the bottom, minions in the mid, and the circling Eagle for the connection. Base Crystal, 50%. Immortality being procced to Moba Zane. They're not done though. Milo resting with the Furious Dive. Does connect the shot Essence, but minions fall. Zia finds Milo, but down goes a Base Crystal. BTK able to claim this series, the reverse sweep against Gaming Gladiators.
A 14-10, 26-minute masterpiece coming out from BTK, able to prove pretty much the whole entire casting desk, along with the whole entire North America, that they still have it within them. And again, this is a team full of all-stars. I think that they have the ability to take these wins, and definitely they did. 14, 10, and 35 in a fashionable way to take the victories of pretty much the undefeated crown in NACT so far. The Gaming Gladiators fall to the Bloodthirsty Kings here.
Man, what a game. The best series of the night. And that was hard to top off because we had some good series today. I don't think anybody is disappointed with the level of capability that both of these teams provide. The high IQ, the macro, the micro, it was all there. BTK, though, able to pull it off and take down Gaming Gladiators. Their first defeat of this entire NACT spring season into the hands of Bloodthirsty Kings, who did not have the hardest start when they lost to Area 77. But hey, they found their proper footing and took down the top contender in that #1 position, which is going to go ahead and boost them up on that ladder in terms of their rankings compared to the other top 8 teams in North America.
And this just kind of shows about the underdogs of this this NACT so far, right? We got Fiends kind of going up in the rise now. BTK finding their momentum against one of the best teams in North America. Pretty much an uprising revolution for any of the underdogs coming through, and BTK leading the way here in this series. 2-1, 14-10 is the overall scoreboard, and I feel like all the members from BTK did quite well, right? The defensive utility that the Matilda provided, the retributions coming out from Zane, Nicolette with the ultimate coming through, pretty much impacting the game in such a huge way that it honestly felt like Hoon wasn't even there at the whole entire game. And also Milo, 2, 5, and 9 is the scoreboard, but the Petrify along with the Black Dragon form, especially early on, denying Hoon, denying Zia, hitting multiple members, getting the pickoffs that BTK needed in order for them to get the victory here.
Man, that was almost a 30-minute game, longest game of the night. On top of that, and definitely the most entertaining. BTK, if I had to give one player MVP, man, it'd be really hard to choose between Basic and also Cold World on this Mathilda. I mean, Basic definitely shined in the last 2 games with not only the Brody, but also the carry. But the Mathilda saves. I mean, look at the Forgotten One Cold World. The Mathilda saves is what really kept BTK in the game for a lot of these engagements on the neutral objectives. What was Zane taking? 300,000 damage as the sandbags, the highest I've ever seen. The carry is going to go to Basic, though, over there, and then the rich guy for Zia.
Yeah, the kill participation across the board is painted quite well. But again, Nicolette, I feel like definitely shined quite well, and especially in the mid lane matchup, and also Cold World, right? But once again, it kind of feels like the draft coming in from both teams, they came out with the same exact draft from all 3 of the games. But, you know, the heroes kind of has been swapped around. And this time around, BTK is able to get that victory. And, you know, you talked about the Matilda providing the utility, and I definitely agree with that. You know, he was able to save multiple members, Zane, countless of times in this series. And also, you know, Nicolette's Cold Altar has been so much utilities for the Kings of the Kings.
Well, I'm lost in words. If you can see behind the scenes, I think this game really got me and a lot of the audiences at the edge of our seats. It's the longest game this entire show so far, and the most viewers for the shows, so definitely something that was unexpected. Nobody predicted this, right? None of the casters predicted BTK's comeback, but they did. It really shows that MOBA King might be back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm not even upset that I lost my prediction. I'm more just excited for how good of a series that was between both of those teams. I mean, I'm just proud to know that if it's BTK, if it's Gaming Gladiators, whoever represents us on the international level, or if it's any of these other teams in North America, we're looking stronger and we're scaling through the meta, and that's what's really important about this.
Yeah, and you know, for me, it's so exciting to see kind of like the triangle now between all the teams, right? We were talking about how BTK lost against A77. This time they took out the best of the teams. This just proves that, you know, none of the teams are unbeatable in this series. And, you know, the Dark Knight is rising. The revolution is starting. All the young kids are coming together and they're taking out some of the crowns of the crowns.
Yeah, and this is, for many seasons, this is the first time that GG got defeated in the regular season by BTK. For previous seasons, BTK has tried to face against GG, but wasn't able to make it until like playoff stage or the grand finals. But this time, they're doing it early. They're doing it in the second week of the series, so I can't imagine what happens in the later weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a quick showcase of what all these teams are capable of today. Not only just BTK and Gaming Gladiators, but all this matches we've seen today were just as intense, right? I mean, I can't wait to see them compete as we progress further in that ladder. But with GG taking their first loss, like Yue mentioned, it means that there is a possibility for other teams to step up to that totem pole for the #1 position. And this is just the beginning. A great show ahead of us as we progress through the regular season.
Yeah, no, this is something that we definitely love. Once again, you know, all the underdogs are coming in to perform, thirsty for the win. And this time around, the BTK is going to be the one that is leading, right? Leading all these young teams and showing, hey, you know, even with a new team, we can still do it. So if we can do it, a lot of you guys can overtake the crown here. And that is what's so exciting about this NACT here.
And to really put this show to the pinnacle, we have an interview with the greatest of all time, GOAT Milo. Welcome back, Milo.
No, I do not deserve
Yes,
that
they can
title.
hear you now.
I'm sorry to all the BTK fans out there. I'll play better next week. I played horrible today.
Why are you sorry? You did a great performance for especially the second game. I noticed your export was crazy. You're putting on the jersey now. So Milo, tell us why are you sorry?
Guys,
Why are you
I've
apologizing?
been trash talking a lot, then I kind of fed today. I'm sorry. My team won 4v5. What can I say? I was useless today.
Wow.
I'll do
I
better
don't know
next
how to
week.
feel about that
Sorry about
comment.
that.
Is that humble or is that showing
No,
up?
I played. Liz, did you not watch the game? I was feeding half the time. My bad to all the fans out there. We'll do better next week. I
Well,
was
still
expecting
congratulations to BTK. Congratulations to your team. And some questions that obviously a lot of fans want to know. So first off, facing against Gaming Gladiators, facing the team that you stayed with, you lived with through Indonesia, through pretty much a whole year. How does it feel being dropped from that team? And how does it feel now to beat them?
What do you mean? I dropped them. I'm kidding.
I'm
I'm kidding. Guys,
Milo.
don't clip anything. Nah, I'm kidding. I mean, it's pretty normal. I'm not really holding any grudges. I have no enemies. I'm just playing, feeding at the time.
Hashtag that's normal.
It's pretty normal.
Well,
That's
so
about
that I heard from the production that before the game even started, there was a camera war going on between the two teams. What happened there? Is anything interesting that you want to share?
Okay. Hoon is a criminal, guys. Hoon is a criminal. He takes like 10 pictures of me every night when I was sleeping next to him. That guy's a criminal. Can't
And
let
now those secrets are shared.
Yeah, they were just showing the pictures. Like,
And now, with this strong victory in week 2, compared to that defeat in the first week, what do you think changed in this past week?
it was definitely mindset and preparing a lot more. Like, we played for 2 days this weekend. That's 2 more days than last weekend, where we went up against A77. 0 scrims, 0 motivation, 0 passion that week. It was a lot of ego. It was a lot of trash talking, looking down on the enemy team, not really caring, and we got stung. You know, it's a really nice L to have early on. I was so happy that my team stopped trash talking right away when we lost. That was a good loss. That was a good loss.
And now it brought you guys so far. And last but not least, with this new roster, how do you like this new roster? How do you like Nicolette in mid lane, and as well as Whole World adding to that roam position, really bringing Zane into his comfort zone?
Well, for the most part, aside from this week, Zane was not in his comfort zone. I think there was a lot of synergy problems that we fixed through a lot of heart-to-heart talks this past week. Zane mentioned that he was feeling really uncomfortable playing with Apple and Chris because Apple and Chris did not even communicate with him. So we solved that this week. We spent a lot more time together. We hung out, watched MPL, and I guess it paid off. Even when I fed, they won. So I guess they can just carry.
Well, I'm sure you did something right there. So with, like you said, communication is key, and team synergy, it seems, is what you guys needed, and you guys got it. So congratulations on that victory. I hope we have you back at this desk. I really love talking to Milo. He's always great to have on the show. So good.
Guys, the next time you get me here, I'm MVP. Trust me. 0 deaths. The next time you see me here, 0 deaths. Trust me. I'm not dying next week.
I'm sure.
I'm not dying next week, guys. No more deaths.
Well, we're gonna hold you accountable. We're gonna hold you to that. He's not dying next week. Well, thank you, Milo. Have a great rest of the night. Whoa. I'm still in shock, guys. That series. I feel like, in my personal opinion, I feel like the Rome Cold World really solved MOBA Zane's the MOBA Zane question. It's the roamer is really what gets Zane online and gets the team going.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see a lot of improvement in their gameplay from day one with their debut against Area 77. Gaming Gladiators, I still think they executed pretty well in their matchup against BTK. I mean, it literally went to like a 25 plus minute game, which goes to show that all the objectives were claimed. Like, it was just down to who could fight it out a little bit better, literally down to the wire. And that's what I said. I love to see it. I think BTK, it goes to show, you know, when in doubt, that's when they kind of strive the best, when their backs are against the wall. I mean, we've seen this in the NACT spring season last year. And that's when I kind of was like, okay, MOBA Zane, he's just built differently when it comes to these kind of things. And definitely credits over there to them with that. For Gaming Gladiators, though, I mean, hey, you can't count them out. They're still sitting in that #1 position, and they're still a hard fight. It wasn't an easy battle for BTK. It was a good victory, but not an easy battle. You got to look at the entire match. It was a 25-minute game, which means they could have lost that just as easily as they could have won it once you get to that point. And that's what it really boils down to. But nonetheless, I'm happy. You know, I'm glad to see it go out to a 25-minute game, a best of 3, which I've been asking for this entire day. And to be able to not only take me by surprise, but the entire world with a reverse sweep. Definitely a good job from the Bloodthirsty Kings. Can't wait to see them in the regular season push forward, but also see Gaming Gladiators come back from that as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, Wheezy pretty much said the whole entire thing right there. It's honestly nice to see a lot of these underdogs kind of performing super well against, you know, the ones that have dominated throughout. And I think, you know, BTK, especially with this win, has started a trend to come through, right? We've already seen a lot of uprising stars, a lot of upsets coming through. And with this win, I think it paints the path for teams like Fiends, teams like the Night Horde that has successfully, you know, grabbed up some wins here and there to see, hey, Gaming Gladiators, this is a possible match. If BTK can do it and we've been able to kind of keep BTK at bay, it's definitely something possible. So I think it's a very great competitive match coming out from both teams. Unfortunately, Gaming Gladiators was the one that did take the loss, but it is only a 1-2, right? They're still able to get the points. BTK did not sweep them here. So, you know, it just brings up the competitiveness of North America, and I'm completely all for it.
Yeah, it's definitely an Edo hit, but not too much damage has been done. Definitely can come back in the following weeks, and we're ready to see them. But for this series, there's an MVP, and the MVP will be Cold World. Seems like all the roamers are getting the MVPs today. Break it down for us, Wheezy.
That's right, Cold World on fire with this Mathilda pickup for game number 2 and game number 3. Both of those able to make up the difference, keeping the team alive when it mattered the most, getting them out of those sticky situations that they were put in by Gaming Gladiators. Not only was he able to engage, but he's also able to disengage when it mattered the most. And honestly, we don't usually get to see the Mathilda picked out too often in the NACT regular season, so it's definitely a treat to be able to see inside of the final series for the day.
Yeah, and honestly, I love this Matilda pick pretty much from all the way, you know, back